down. Kia, clear, spilling tea, no fear, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. I don't lies right here. Spilling tea, no fear. I'm still here. Da 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 da. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. Lakeysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah. Make sure you subscribe to Lakeysha Keysha, my dear. Hey, I'm still here, no fear, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Stretch words like spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. Make sure you subscribe to the Lakeysha Keysha channel.
Hello guys, what's going on? So we're going to get this party started relatively quickly. Now we've been talking about, Anton Daniels. We haven't been talking about him as much as we started, but we're going to get into this. As you guys know, Anton is from Detroit. And, we have really talked about on this channel pretty much that, the dude is a liar and he's a hypocrite. And that is pretty much by the things that he has done on his own. We have literally used his videos, the things that he has said, the things that he has done to say, wait a minute, this dude couldn't be a Christian. I mean, he could not be anything. I mean, this dude, does he even believe in God? Because I think he, may be something else. Well, I have a guest that's going to come on to the platform today. He also has a YouTube channel, so I'm going to bring him up in a second. He is a pastor, and basically we're going to go into, just some of the things that we have saw from, Anton, his behavior and his, I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to see his interview with Stephen A. But, in the interview that he had with Stephen A. Smith, the man said he was a damn saint. And I was done after that. So let me bring our guests up, guys, and we're going to get into this interview. All right. Did I add you? All right, let me remove this. Okie dokie. Give me a second here. I feel like I added you somewhere. Oh, there you are. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me on, Lakeysha. How are you today?
I'm great. Well, I shouldn't say I'm great. I've been doing everything. It's like I wake up and I got a whole list of stuff that I got to do. So I wanted to reach out to you because I remember when I was doing a video, you had said you had sent me a message. And remember, I had found a message and then I was like, where'd the message go? I literally be having my kids. I know they'd be like, lady, get it together. I'd be like, here, can you do this? Like, find this for me.
Yeah. No, I get it. You get a lot of messages, a lot of DMs and contacts, and people are, interested in wanting to converse with you. So I appreciate the opportunity to have me on your live stream. I do appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming. Like I said, when you had reached out, you were like, well, what made you reach out? When you said she was a pastor and he was a hypocrite and a fraud, I was like, yeah, I want to talk to you because I'm not a pastor. I mean, I've been to church, I got saved and all of that, but I don't play church. You see what I'm saying? I don't play church games. I don't be like, oh, I'm a saint. I don't do that. Like, I know a lot of people play the church game. I don't play church games. So that's kind of how I was in church, and then I stopped going because I'm like, these folks play too many games. But that doesn't mean that I don't believe in God. It don't mean that I don't love people or anything like that.
Right.
When I saw this fool online, I was like, what in the hell are we doing here? Like, what is really going on? And I think I was more upset that people was falling for the bullshit. I'm like, are these people crazy? Are we this lost that we are just looking for folks to just, guide us, or what? It just was crazy. So when I first saw his videos, the first thing I saw, I said, okay, this is a Black man he married. I said, maybe it's just me. Maybe I am looking at something wrong. So what I proceeded to do is I went to search other videos, and I noticed people were saying the same thing. And I said, well, let me just go watch some of his content, because I'm sure what I see is wrong, because he's married. He's have a Black wife. Why do I feel like this man hate women? I don't know. Okay, maybe that's just the way that I'm feeling. But I arrived to the conclusion that this dude was nothing but trash. So I'm glad to have you. So let's just get right in. I know you stated that you're not in Detroit right now, but your roots are you're
definitely
from Detroit. So tell
born
us
and raised. Yes, ma'am.
About we can start with there. Were you born in Detroit, or?
Yeah, I was born in Detroit, actually born on the east side of Detroit off of John R. Those who know anything about Detroit, the city of Detroit, what up though, first of all. But I was born on the east side of Detroit, raised on the west side, graduated from Cooley High School, class of 88. After that, I joined the United States Navy, served for 4 years on board the USS Enterprise, got out in 1992. Went home, stayed for about a year, but due to the job market, during that time, the big three, they were having hiring freezes on hiring people back, to work and stuff. And so my dad worked for Ford for almost 30 years, and so I was trying to get in through that type of connect and that type of plug, but nothing was working. And so since I had family and relatives in Houston and in Texas, I decided to move in 94. And I've been here since 1994, but I go home, whenever I can. I still have my mom and my siblings, that some of my siblings still live in Detroit. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that story. I'm originally from Wisconsin, and I left. I mean, I felt like I knew everybody there. It was nothing for me to learn. I said, I got to get out of here. I love my city, but I just can't live there no more. Okay?
Yeah. Likewise. Yep.
I get it, but I know I have some friends from way back in the day, growing up, that lived in Detroit. I always remember Detroit for the fancy hairstyles, because one of my girlfriends when I was growing up, this girl hair was, I was from Milwaukee, but I was Madison, which is where my mother lived, and she would be in Madison, but she was from Detroit, but she moved to Madison. And when I tell you her hair was just, I used to be like, girl, I'm going to Detroit. Like, her hair was beat to the gods. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I remember, from Detroit. But because I've never lived there. I don't know much about the culture other than people that I know that, live there, but I've actually never been to Detroit, which is crazy because I actually have family that live there, but they would always come and visit us. When you think about Detroit, what is the culture like there?
It's a mix, mainly, most it's predominantly Black. You also have, your Arabs there. And now if you're from Detroit, they'll say Arab, but it's still the same thing. But it's predominantly Black. It's pretty chill. People don't really bother you unless you bother them. You go about your business and things like that. I could say when I was living there, you're talking about the late about in the 70s, late 80s. That's when people, the Black family was pretty much, you had factory workers, you had parents, family working at either Chrysler or Ford or GM. And so, if you were basically in working at the factory, you pretty much your family people that had it going on. And so, it was pretty chill, pretty relaxed. You had your clubs, I was never a club person. I was more of a, more of a nerd. I went to school, and plus I had my dad at that was in my life as well too. So he didn't play that, what I'm saying, get in trouble, he had to come see you. So I wasn't that dumb to get in that kind of a trouble. But pretty much, you mind your business. You didn't bother anybody unless somebody bothered you. And you basically, if you was a club person or went out to, wanted to go out to the clubs, back in the day, you had Boblo Island, you had, that type of thing. You had Shane Park, those types of get outs and things like that, or Boblo Island and, or whatever, like I mentioned before. But, it was a pretty chill and relaxed place. It wasn't really nothing major going on. But I was basically raised in a middle-class family. Okay. Like I said, my parents were in my life, and so I make no apologies about that. But the Detroit at the time was pretty good. I would not recommend anybody going back there now, though. Right, things have definitely changed like night and day. For real, you know what I'm saying? Okay. So yeah.
So you was like a good kid, and see, when I was growing up, I was the bad kid. Like I listen.
I had to stay away from you, Lakeysha. I had to stay away from you.
Listen, but you know what? I was the bad kid, but I felt like I was surrounded by a bunch of people that loved me, because as much trouble as I got in, I didn't get in as much trouble as they got in. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wouldn't take my upbringing away for nothing, because I learned so many things. Like I was able to make sure my children didn't even know, you know what I mean? Like I tell you, the person y'all see today, I used to be crazy. Okay, don't play with me. So I was totally different. Now, my question to you, because I know, you're a pastor, tell me about that. Like, when did you go into ministry? How did that start?
Yeah, so I have been pastoring for over 20 years. I first, at the time, I thought I was a Christian growing up, the typical, I've been to church, been baptized, that kind of thing. I was with the Sunday school and things of that nature. And so I thought I was a Christian when I was a teenager, but when I went to the Navy, that Christianity stuff pretty much went out the door, but I knew enough about the Bible to be dangerous, right? But not enough to be delivered from my sin. And so, of course, my dad, he would also, take me to church. I was steeped in the church, got involved in Sunday school and things of that nature. But my true conversion didn't take place until after I was married, and actually been married to my wife. Of our 4 daughters, I have 6. And I have 4 girls. Yeah, I got 4 girls. Been married for 25 years. Be 26 come June the 3rd. And so her name is Sharon. Shout out to her. But I truly didn't come to know Christ until after I got married to her. Oh. And I say that because it's very serious. And if you don't mind, let me share this with you for a minute, and why this is personal for me, Lakeysha, because a lot of people are claiming to be Christian, but their lifestyle is an affront to what true biblical Christianity is. And so this is personal for me. Right. And so when I see people like Anton parading himself as claiming to be a saint, and like I told you before on your live chat, he's not a saint, he's an ain't. Because a true follower of Christ is a saint. Not meaning that they're perfect, but they mean that they've been set apart. They've been called by God to do his work and to do his service. Doesn't mean that we're going to do everything right. That doesn't mean that. But what makes a person a Christian is not the things that we say, it's what we show. The Bible says faith without works is dead, right? So I knew enough to be dangerous. I knew enough scripture to have people believe that I was a Christian. But if I had died, then I would have bust hell wide open as a hypocrite, Lakeysha, as a hypocrite. You feel me? So this is why this is personal for me, because I've seen a lot of people, that even within these conservative circles, and I'll say this, a person that is a conservative doesn't make them a Christian. But if you are a Christian, you should be conservative. And we could talk about that maybe at another time, or maybe even now, but depending on what you mean by that. But I'm saying that because a lot of people think that because a person is a conservative, that automatically gives them a shoe-in as being a Christian. Nothing could be further from the truth. The conservative party, Lakeysha, is a wide tent. You got conservative gays, you got conservative this, you know what I'm saying? They don't make them Christian, right? So the conservative movement is a big tent, but the Christian movement is not just a small tent, but it's a narrow road. Everybody can't be on that road, right? So that means you got to die to yourself. And so for me, being a Christian was more than just about me praying the prayer. It's about what Christ came into my life, me recognizing by his sovereign grace that I was a sinner. and that if I had died in my sins at that moment, Lakeysha, I would have bust hell wide open. Because again, I knew enough to be dangerous, but not enough to be delivered from my sin.
Right.
Later on, after my marriage to my wife in about 2000, maybe 2002, 2000, maybe 3, give or take, I got into the pastoral ministry, and from then, I started teaching youth and also young adults and also married couples and things like that. My wife and I had marriage counseling classes and sessions as well too. And so I'm just a regular dude. I'm not this type of person where we can't have these conversations and keep it real. But at the same time, I'm going to point people back to Christ, because nowadays we're living in a day and time where people are looking for true answers, and unfortunately, they're being led astray by people that are grifting for gain. They're being led astray by people that have ulterior motives. And for me, my channel, my platform, we address social issues, political issues. We address broad issues, but from a biblical perspective. And so, pretty much what you see is what you get.
And tell them the name of your YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's called the Book Chapter Verse Podcast, or BCV for sure, as you can see on my torso. This stands for Book Chapter Verse, and basically anything that I try to engage and have conversations about, I bring people back to the Word of God, because I believe that it's through the Word of God is the final authority and standard for life and faith and practice.
Great. So you explain, your background in terms of the pastor. So tell me, I don't know, like how did you become familiar with Anton's content? Remember, I said to you, I didn't know who he was. I just happened to be scrolling, and I started seeing all of this crazy stuff. And I know you and I had a conversation, and one of the things I said to you is, why is, it seems like these people invite him on their platform, or maybe he's paying them, which I guess is if that's what he wants to do. But I feel like if I'm going to have somebody on my platform, I need to ask them the serious questions. And I nobody asking this man any questions it related to, he goes on Stephen A. Smith's channel, and he makes it seem like, this guy is some kind of smart, conservative Christian. And I said, what? So I know, I gave you a few questions, but tell me when did you start becoming aware of his content, and what were your thoughts? And then the second question is, why do you feel like, and it's bad too when it's Black people, sit up there and allow this man to come on their platform and don't even ask him these questions? This dude is grifting the Black community by using content that to me, I feel like is detrimental to Black people. You know what I mean? I don't think that I don't even think the stuff that he says that he actually believes it, to be honest.
He's using the conservative movement, but he also is using Christianity as a grift, because he's covering both sides. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to cover both sides of the aisle there. And so I found out about Anton maybe about 2, maybe 3 years ago, give or take, just shortly after COVID. And I noticed that he was I found out he was from Detroit. But I also noticed that he had conservative, values, and for the most part, most Black folk, when it comes to their political leanings, it's not mainly conservative. Unfortunately, it's leaning left or leaning Democrat in the policies. So it was rare to find a person like Anton, spitting facts. When I'm talking about historical facts regarding the Democrat Party versus the Republican Party, regarding big government, small government, things of that nature. So it was resonating with me on that. But when he started saying that he was a Christian, because I didn't follow his channel, that he would have those late night panel discussions and things like that. I was never following him on that. It was basically the highlights of his content that he would upload and put on his channel later on. And so when he would talk about political issues, I was okay, cool. But then when he started saying he was a Christian, Lakeysha, that's when I started, raising concerns and had red flags thrown, because now you're saying you're a Christian, but you're calling women bees, you're calling them hoes, you're talking about a woman's vagina, and you're using the the scatological terms and the vulgar terms of describing a woman's body parts and stuff. and then you claim that you're married. I'm saying, but bro, nah, this ain't Christianity at all. And so for me, the concern was not only is he pushing a narrative and a false narrative of that, but then he's getting on this platform, like you mentioned about Stephen A. Smith, and they're giving him softball questions. And that was infuriating to me as well, too, because I'm saying, well, wait a minute, hold up. Y'all, I mean, what makes him a Christian? Well, I'm a saint. I'm not a Christian. I'm a saint. But bro, a Christian is a saint. Why are you trying to, split hairs about a term that really means a person who's a Christ follower and a person who's been called out of darkness into Christ's marvelous light? And so when I started watching him just, push this type of position and posture and narrative, I said, well, no, this dude is not really a real Christian. He's a fake. And then when he went on to Corey Holcomb's channel, he was saying he was a Christian again too. And I'm like, bro, but his the way he was moving, talking, then bragging about how he won, like, bro, you caught an L. You didn't win anything. You made yourself look stupid. And I mean, anybody can get into a fight. It takes a real man to know, what, this situation ain't good. I'm just go ahead and just leave, or I'm going to shut this thing down for the sake of peace. And so we don't make ourselves look more dumb than what we already are engaging like this. And so, I think that for me was the concern where he gets these, he's been on Fox, he's been on these other, major platforms, and nobody is pressing him regarding the content and the things that he has said. Lakeysha, no Christian, okay? No Christian would ever say, I always have a bad chick with me wherever I go. No Christian would ever say that. None.
Right.
This dude ain't a Christian.
That's a street N word. That's what that is.
Facts.
You're not a Christian.
Facts. At all. I mean, and so for me, that was my issue. He's not a Christian. He can claim to be conservative all he wants. Okay, fine, whatever. But claim to be a Christian, nah, bro, you're not that. And right. I would love to have a conversation with him because, see, for me, I would like to ask him some questions. I'm not going to ask him now because he may be watching and ear hustling your live right now. But I would love to have a real live conversation with him and to see how quick he moves on his feet, because he claims that he knows the Bible. He claims that he knows about what it means to be a Christian, and then talks about people that you got to examine a person's fruit. Well, bro, I've examined your fruit, bro, and it's rotten to the core, straight up.
Right. Now, you said that you've been married, was it for 20? How many years did you say you
25 years. 25 years.
25. So you've been married for 25 years. I think Anton said he'd been married for about that same time. Now, I don't know if you have saw any of the content. I ain't been married for no 25 years. I ain't been in a relationship for 25 years. I can't do 25 years. What do you say about that content with him and his wife? There are videos with him and his wife where Anton is saying basically that if he wants to get another woman, his wife is okay with it. And I'm just like, and it, the people in the video was like, what? It was,
right.
Some young couple was like, wait a minute, because they like, well, wait a minute. And the wife is like, why not? Yeah. So I'm just like, at first I was like, do they need to check on Anton's wife? Is she safe? But it's kind of seeming like she may be with whatever this weird stuff is they have going on.
Yeah, it looks like they may be swinging, and they can be down like that. I look at the wife as well, because at one time I was feeling sorry for the wife, because I saw an interview that she had saying how volatile a dude can be when he don't get his way. And I'm like, okay, is she in an abusive marriage, or what's really going on?
One thing on that too, let me kind of let you know what that's all about, because I think people think that was an interview. You do know that was him talking to her. So,
okay.
Yes, because at first I was like, okay, this is weird. So he originally did that interview with his wife. Maybe he thought it was funny back then, because he's starting this channel. Maybe, for whatever reason, interview his wife. But what ended up happening is he took that off his channel. When you put stuff on your channel, people screen record it. So absolutely. I was sent that, but I didn't see anything funny about it. If somebody saying that you got multiple personalities, that they don't think that you have harmed anybody, but they think you're capable of it. Right. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah. That's why I was concerned at first. But then when I was listening to her, when he would have her on his live stream and they were talking, he was asking women these questions. I'm like, wait a minute, bro, your wife is sitting right there and she's good with that. So number one, that's disrespectful. I mean, let's just call it what it is. That's disrespectful. It's not Christian or Christ-like again, and it makes him look like he's a pimp. I don't know what he claims to be, but that's what he looks like, right? And then on top of that, you have no respect for the institution that you claim to represent, which is marriage. Because he boasts and talks about how he's been married to one woman and he only got kids by one woman. Like, bro, look at how you're moving though. So none of that really matters if you up here parading your wife as though she's weak and that she's just going along with this whole type of charade. But then he said, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but then he said he's basically doing this for entertainment or for clicks. And as long as he gets the clicks and the likes and the subs, I'm like, bro, but at what cost? Again, no Christian does that. No Christian moves like that.
Right. And, in his last interview, and we had spoke about this on Stephen A's channel, he basically was like, whatever it takes. And I was like, wow, those are strong words. If somebody said, what are you willing to do? Work hard, do this and do that. I'm not willing to do everything. I'm not going to do everything. But he was so open, and it was eerie to listen to a grown man say that he will do anything for clout. I'm just like, this is a man with a I mean, your daughter is watching you.
Right.
Crazy.
But then remember when Corey was basically clowning his daughter, he tried to act as though he was protecting his daughter, saying my daughter's now scarred. Bro, look at how you're moving. You're scarring your daughter by your own behavior. And if you don't think your daughter's friends are watching your content and watching what you're doing, look at how you are treating her mother, your wife, and then having everyone to think that, hey, well, she's good with him. And if she is good with it, then she just as dumb and just as deceived as anyone else that would follow this type of mentality. And it's really abusive, to be honest with you, because it's mental abuse. Now, for the fact that she may be getting money out of it or getting whatever, I don't know. But nonetheless, it's not a good look. And it does not show true masculinity and true manhood either, because the fact that he said he would do whatever, he's already been bought and paid for. He's already been bought and paid for, receipt and everything. So he has no morals and he has no character.
Right. And you have mentioned that he had said, his daughter was harmed. When he started with that and people asked me, do you feel sorry for his daughter? I said, absolutely not. Because I've been here a long time. I know when I'm seeing game and when game is being ran. I knew from the beginning that nothing was wrong with this man's daughter, because the way either he didn't give a crap about his daughter, or it was all for him to come on here and make people feel sorry for him. But one of YouTuber, he's in the chat, No Captivity with Freezy, was able to find a video that his own, his brothers have a podcast. What up, though?
Okay.
So, and I have the clip as well. The question was asked, what happened to, his brother called into the show, because they wasn't a part of the show that day. So when the brother called in, they said, what was, how was his daughter or your niece? Was she okay? He said, oh, she was fine. Nothing. She, they keep her off of the internet. She didn't know anything that had happened. And I told the people, I said, listen, I knew this already. Nobody, how you just know stuff. People don't have to know. You're telling me your daughter is distraught. You needed to take her to the hospital. You needed to take her to therapy. First of all, I have a therapist. It ain't that easy. Like, it takes a minute to get a therapist. So you did all of that in 24 hours, the same 24 hours that you were still online. You have been dragging this man for 2 weeks. Get on up out of here. It was all to come online and grift, to get more super chats, to get more people to feel sorry for him. I said, do these folks really do this? Like, this is crazy that you're giving your energy to come on here and lie. But yet his brothers, which we didn't know, because this podcast had been out that they had did for months, and said wasn't nothing wrong with his daughter. But then what ended up happening is one of them was like, oh yeah, his daughter was sick, and they made it into a joke because they realized that the brother said, oh no, she was fine. My niece was fine. And I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's a grift game, and remember after the whole altercation with Corey, he was in the hotel. He was bragging about Mika, saying how good Mika was looking. And first of all, I like who is Mika? And then when he brought her out, I said, okay, well now something got to be going on with this. Well, again, what married man and what married woman would allow her married husband to have another woman in the hotel and she not be there? I mean, it's just bad optics all the way around. But yet you claim to be Christian, you claim to be godly, you claim to love God. I mean, all this stuff, and nobody's calling him on his crap. And that's the thing that infuriates me, because he's leading people astray and playing with people's, minds, thinking that this is the way, this is what masculinity is, and this is how you get the bag. He calls himself bag chasers. Okay, well, the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. And so you already chasing it, and notice why you're chasing it, for himself. And he makes no apologies for this type of thing. And again, I have not seen anyone press him, and I haven't watched everyone's content, but those that I have seen, I have not seen anyone press him and call him to the carpet for the stuff that he's been putting out there and hold him to his words based on the standard that he claims to hold, and he's not.
Right. One of the things you said today in our phone call, because that was one of my questions. I said, I mean, the guy is going to do what he does. I mean, I feel like people should support whoever they want to support. But I do feel like if you think that somebody is this and they not, I'm going to talk about it, because you are not who you say you are. Right. Now, what we've learned, and I've watched the interview, he interviewed with Tasha K. She asked him nothing. I mean, this man has content out. I just don't understand what is his gripe with the women when they're a man. You usually don't have this kind of animosity with a man, but you have it with a woman. Now, people have been saying that it's possibly he got an issue with his mother or something like that, because I don't understand what his issue is with women all the time. And this interview with Stephen A. And one of the things you said is, people are clout chasers. And I've learned even on this YouTube game where people will say and do anything if they feel like they're gonna get a few subscribers. Remember, I had told you, when I started my channel, I felt like I was going in a way that people, and I'm like, hold on, this ain't me. I can't be anything but me. So you had said that you maybe feel like a lot of people don't call him out because they just clout chasing and want to be cool with him and not bringing what he's actually doing to the forefront. And I feel like asking him a question just to find out what he would say, I guess I don't understand why nobody is doing that.
Yeah, I mean, like to your point, like you said, it's clout chasing, it's also gatekeeping, right? And there's a network within a network of people on social media where this person knows this individual, this content creator knows this content creator, and so to keep that nucleus tight, they're not going to call each other out on their stuff, and they'll even cape for those knowing that they're wrong, right? So to your point, you can say, okay, you got the receipts on Anton. You can pull up his own video in his own words and present it to somebody that has platformed him and said, now, what do you say about this? Well, no, I ain't got nothing to do with that. What you mean you ain't got nothing to do with that? You platform this person. You're asking them questions, and now you act as though you can't say anything because of what? Well, number one, they're not gonna be invited to the cool kids table. Number two, it's gonna affect their subscriber base. Number three, they're not gonna be invited on other platforms that they're trying to build on. Because remember now, listen, whether we like Stephen A or not, Stephen A, he's that dude. From a social media content creator standpoint, right? So him going on to Stephen A. Smith, who has 1.4 million subs, it brings more reach and more notoriety to him, right? And that's what Anton is looking for. So now if you I don't know if you've seen in the comments, people were in the comment like, wait a minute, hold up, this dude is on Stephen A. Like, so Anton's on Stephen A. Right, because he's arrived and he's not done. Right, he's not done. So, but to bring these matters to people like a Stephen A. or others, they're not gonna press him. They're not gonna press them for whatever reason, but because I believe this based on the pattern that I've seen in the circles that I have run in. When you start calling people out on their hypocrisy, and it's not that you're going hunting for it. Lakeysha is right there in your face. It's like it's right there.
No, I get it. And when you said that, I identify with that because that's what I do. I am a leader. I don't run with BS. If it don't look right with me, I'm gonna say it, and I don't care who likes it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And like, I'll just give you an example. Let's say Anton was my friend, and then I came online and he was doing all of this crazy stuff. I'd be like,
right.
oh, what's going on with you? Are you okay? Like, what is this?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be able to be like, oh, this is my friend, so I'm rolling because you're my friend. What I have done in my life with my friendships, if you can't tell me the truth, I don't want you to be my friend. I don't need you to, I don't need you to take me to hell with you, and I don't need you to send me to hell knowing that I'm doing wrong and you're not trying to help me. So I get it. When you said that, I said, I understand. But what I also understand is there are people who will do anything to get to where they're going. But I feel like you got the Stephen A's, you got the Antons, and that's all in that, that bucket of, listen, I'm a never to get wherever. I feel like, at some point, people will do that. But I also feel like it's a group, it's going to be a group of people that's going to stand on, things that's right. All of us ain't just going wherever to get to wherever.
That's the few. That's the few, Keysha. It's gonna be it's the few. It's the far between. So, like for yourself, like congratulations on you hitting 100K subs, right? A person hitting 100K subs that's grinding it out, that's not compromising. I have more respect for that person than a person that then cutthroat, that then backstab, that has thrown people under the bus, and you got 100K subs. Because now how you got it is you're going to do whatever it takes to keep it. So that means I got to throw you up under the bus. That means I got to lie on you. That means I got to trash your name in order to stay on top. Then I'm going to do that. But what happens then when you don't have no morals, you have no godly, fear, and you don't think that what you're doing won't come back around on you? Oh, it will. Whether we know now or later, it's going to come back. And so I believe a lot of this stuff that we see now, yes, it's a grift game, but it's also people don't care about who they cut.
They don't.
And then those who do, those who are standing on business or standing on biblical business, like for me, I got about almost close to 8,000 subs. I'm content with that in so much and in so far, Lakeysha, if I'm doing it the right way and I'm doing it honestly, right? I'm not trying to take advantage of people. I'm not trying to manipulate anyone. I'm not trying to steal or connive or do anything. I believe that whatever the Lord has for me, I'm gonna have it, and I'm good with that. But at the same time, I can congratulate you. I can celebrate you. I can encourage others to say, "Hey, go check out her channel, or go check out Old Boy's channel," right? Because I don't have any any other ulterior motives. But unfortunately, like I said, that's a few. That's the remnant. That's not the whole. The whole of what you're seeing right now with the grifting, the gaslighting, the manipulating, the playing on people's emotions, you peeing on my leg and calling it rain and lemonade. Nah, bro, you foul, you fake. Here's the facts. Here's what you said. Now deal with it.
Right. And so one of the things, I would like to say as it relates to YouTube, because you mentioned you being a smaller channel. One thing I can tell you about YouTube is it doesn't matter if you're small or big. We're all in the same game. You know what I mean? The only difference in the bigger channels is, they have a larger audience, but the way that the algorithm works, if you work it, it works for you. So I remember when I had 12,000 subs, I can make the same money with 100,000 with 12,000, and I have. You see what I'm saying? So the subs help, but you don't get paid on subscribers. That is just, obviously a way that you're climbing in terms of you'll get your rewards from YouTube and of your plaques and things like that. But what I do like about YouTube is it's not like when people be like, I got, 1 million subs. That's good to continually climb, but you will have, dead subscribers. They're subscribed, but they're not watching. Those
Yeah.
people don't help you. A subscriber that's subscribed that's not watching does not help you. So
Yeah.
that's what I do like about YouTube is we are really all in the same game, and it doesn't matter how many, subscribers you have. It only matters what you do, what you put
Yeah.
out. That's really the only thing that matters.
Mhm.
So yeah, but yeah, when I saw this guy on YouTube, I was floored because I was like, does anybody see this? Like, and then even if you go, because sometimes I'll go to his comments and some of the things that the people be saying, I'm just like, what? I kind of think that some of those people that support him are looking either for a father figure or they're looking for somebody that they feel like has their back. No Captivity with Freezy, he's in the chat, but he did a video, and I don't remember. You probably watched it because I think you've been on his channel before,
Yeah,
right?
I have. Yeah, I have. Yep.
He did a video where this guy, he was a bag chaser. I mean, we should get to a certain age where we ain't chasing bags, but we build wealth. But anywho, so he was a bag chaser, and he happened to come across Anton dragging him, was going in on him. And the guy was, when I tell you this guy looked like, it almost seemed like Anton was his father. And I was like, why does he even care? So he was so emotionally involved in what this guy has said about him. And I'm just like, yeah, these guys are looking for their father. They're looking for, someone, to connect with them, because I just didn't understand why this guy was so distraught by a stranger. This man is, you don't know this guy.
Yeah, this is, I don't know if I had sent you that video titled "Who Won?" It was a reaction video. And if you watch the beginning of it, there's a lady that was interviewing Anton, and she has a platform as well too. And so, to your point as well, again, the reason why people are drawn to individuals like Anton also is because of these women that are leading these weak men over to people like Anton and saying that he's a role model. This woman has actually went on record and said that Anton Daniels is a role model. I don't know if you want me to share the screen, but I can show you the video on that joint.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me see if it's over here. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Share screen. Let me do that. Where's it at? This one here? Yeah, share screen. I think this is the one. All right. Okay. This one right here. You see it? Can you see me?
I can see what you shared.
Okay, so there it is right there. So let me go here. Let me do I need to press play or you need to press it?
Good question. I think you
can press. I can press. Let me see. Let me go.
Anton, thank you so much for obliging my request to come and sit down with you.
Anytime.
It's been a huge blessing. It's been a huge blessing. It's been a huge blessing. Your channel, believe it or not, we're in different genres, but I've learned a lot from you. I've gleaned so much wisdom from you. I've learned a lot from you. I've gleaned so much wisdom from you. I've learned a lot from you. I've gleaned so much wisdom from you. I think you are a remarkable gentleman,
you're so
an
sweet.
Amazing family man. I think there are a lot of men out here who can learn a lot from you. Learning requires humility. And
That's
so I'm glad to labor in the YouTube streets on the other side, of course, alongside you, helping wake these women up, these silly women, and then also to make these men step up to the plate.
I'm not saying that I'm a leader, right?
I told you,
because I don't have to designate myself as such. You'll be able to identify them by their fruit, right? Lord God said you'll know them by their fruit.
Live from Detroit. Thank you so much for this sit down. We gotta do it again, bro. Until next time, you guys. Grace and peace.
I'm not an ass kisser of nobody. Yes,
you know what?
Stop right there.
I'm gonna give her credit. Maybe she didn't see the videos, or no, I can't.
Oh, she did. No, she did. She did.
She had to see the videos.
She did. Listen, that's her name is April Chapman. She used to go by.
Yes, I know. Who she is.
Griftress extraordinaire, and there's history behind that, but I'm not sure go there. But I'm just saying, is women like her. And by the way, to another point, she did a reaction video to Anton and to Corey Holcomb's channel, and she was defending Anton's behavior.
Okay, she's definitely a clout chaser. Because let me tell you something. I have a daughter, and if a man called my daughter that, I'm going to jail. Just know that, and I'm gonna be in there happy. Okay, that is a violent man. Any man that'll speak to a woman like that is violent. Okay, so if you think that that is okay that a man speaks like that, he is violent. Because how do you say those kind of things? If you talk like that, you'll put your hands on a woman. That's just you don't this. So I don't understand how people feel like this man desperate. And then you have do they have children? Do you have daughters? This is how I take stuff. If I see something, I'll say, well, what if they did it to my daughter? Or what if they did it to my son? That makes me correct the way that I feel, because now I know that I'm operating the right way, because I know if it were to happen to one of mine, how I'm going to react. So when people sit there and support this idiot, and you see him sitting there there's a video where I have that he's telling this woman, it's so horrible that I was just like, it's bad. Like it is. It's terrible. Telling the lady that she's literally only used for men to have sex with her. And I'm just like, then telling the woman, your kids are going to be in jail making my license plates. I'm just like, how are you a Black man telling a woman who is raising her children, doing whatever the best she can for her kids, but you telling her you want her kids in jail? I don't like you. Like, I don't like you.
But again, this whole conversation is what makes him a hypocrite and a fraud, because he is. What we're seeing is the real Anton Daniels. But when you have people like April Chapman and others, or Stephen A, that are supposed to be those that are, drilling down and asking those thought provoking and probing questions, and they don't, and then they excuse his behavior, because Stephen A did it as well too. Stephen A brought up the whole, Corey Holcomb debacle and everything, and he didn't push back on him and say, man, that was not a good look, bro. You should have, you could handle it. You could have comported yourself better than what you did. He didn't do any of that. They basically caped and they gaslight people. So again, the reason why this man gets the platform and gets the exposure is because you have people that either want what he wants, or is going to expand their base, and they have no character. They have no discernment. They have no morals, period.
So he was also on a television, I think it was like a politics stuff. People think that they removed him because they must have found something, as because he's a content creator.
Yeah.
People were saying that they feel like, I can't remember what news station it was, but they said that they feel like they must have found something about him, that they just severed ties with him. I don't know. I mean, I've never.
I know he runs around. I'm not sure if he goes on, left-leaning circles, but I know he's been on a few conservative circles, like Fox or Laura Ingraham, maybe Newsmax. But I know he's been on Fox News. I know I actually saw him in an interview with Laura Ingraham, but it's been a while.
That's what it was. They put it in the chat, Fox News.
Okay.
So they were, because I may have saw clips of it, but I just recently last year found out about who this guy was. So I've never saw him on Fox News, but people were saying that they feel like that something happened with that, because he just suddenly was gone. Like he was just not there anymore. And I said, it's interesting, to know who knows. So with regards to, the people, because when you had said April Chapman, I didn't know who she was until you just played the video. I know exactly who you're talking about. I have saw her here on YouTube, but you notice though that it's people that look like us that co-sign the BS. Is there any content where there is anybody of another race? I'm just asking, because why do it always got to be us that's co-signing the foolishness? Why do we always got to be so desperate to get anything that we're willing to do and say anything? So I just want to know, like, is there any videos of him with anybody other than a Black person?
Not to my knowledge, no. And I would answer your question this way too, because there's two extremes in our community amongst Black folk. So I tell people we seem to be, unfortunately, a protected class within a protected class, because when we act a fool and do something and then we call it out, then we get clowned for that. Oh, you're up here. So it's like I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't, right? But then you have the other side of the extreme of black folk that want to suck up to white folk to get in there and get in their good graces. So even though they see the hypocrisy and even though they see the double standard, they were rather please, you know, white folk or white conservatives, or even those on the left that's white, because they're trying to get there, they're trying to make a name for themselves. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter who it is. And so that happy medium, that middle, where you're like, look, I'm not listen, I'm gonna call balls and strikes. If you're wrong, I don't care if you're my mama, you're my daddy, I don't care if we listen, Keisha, you could have gave me $20 and I ain't had no gas money. But you out here wilding and saying crazy stuff or causing other people to, you know, to follow into foolishness, I gotta call it out. And it shouldn't be personal, because if you say it publicly, then I have a right to call it out publicly. But these people won't even do that. They'll either cover for it, or if they do call it out, they'll apologize and then trying to get in the good graces of other people, because again, they're trying to make a name for themselves.
Right. Yeah, you're right, because I see it over here a lot, and I'm just like, look, am I just the girl that just don't give it up? Because it's like when I come over to YouTube, I don't have all of those stigmas, or, you know, when I was in corporate America, you can't say nothing because you're gonna get fired, or you can't do this. I'm not gonna get fired, so I don't have that, and I like that. That's why I'm here, because I want to be able to speak what I feel and not have repercussion of you know, the job stuff. You know how you work, you do your job, and you go home. You complain too much, they fire you. If you call out too many things, they're gonna fire you. So when I got to YouTube, I'm not doing that. I'm not. If that's the case, I might as well just, you know, go get a job.
Because it's about character. It's about character. It's about morals. It's about conviction. If a person has no conviction and they have no character, that's a dangerous person. It's a dangerous person, because you don't know what they may do to get over. You know what I'm saying? They can sell you out just for profit, or sell you out because they're trying to make a name for themselves. And a lot of this stuff is what we see going on in these social media circles.
Right. You know, one of the things that you just stated is you said that, you know, people are here to make a name for themselves. And then you had mentioned that, you know, there's these certain group of people that won't say anything about another group of people because they want to be accepted. Now, do you remember this, when Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels, when it really blew up, what did Corey say? Like, it was, why are you always protecting white men? It was a question. He couldn't answer. It went from that till then Corey said, well, why you always kissing their asses? You know, and just went from there to that. And here's the deal. I feel like Corey Holcomb is a comedian. And when I gave my commentary on it, I said, listen, he's a comedian. He's going to do what comedians do. You're expecting a comedian to act like you when their whole life is jokes. So that's just what they do. So the way he reacted, I would expect him to react, because he, in fact, is a comedian. But like you said, from Anton's standpoint, even as you watched him over the next several weeks with the whole, story of Corey, he said, listen, I'm gonna make $1 million off of Corey. So it was more so, to me, I'm going to go on this show and I'm going to create content for myself. And that's kind of what I got out of it.
Yeah. And remember when he came on, it was cool for the first, maybe 15, 20 minutes, give or take. I was thinking that, hey, this would be an opportunity for two black men to have a dialogue and have a discussion and to present facts and let the viewer, hear the truth. But it didn't get it turned into Jerry Springer. You know what I'm saying? And I was expecting, and like to your point, I was expecting for Anton, the number one, if I know I'm going in, if I've been watching, Corey's content, then I should know what to expect already. I'm not gonna let him take me off my square. Right. But you up here talking about let's go outside and we can catch a fair one. But what is that? Again, when we're talking about men, true men, black men don't move like that. And since it's really about him chasing the bag, notice what he was willing to do. He didn't want to mess up the money, so he wants to go out back. So is it really about the money, or is it about your quote unquote name? Right. Because if it's all about my pride, I don't care about no money. If I'm thinking about my manhood being challenged, I don't care about no money. if it's about that, because you can't put a price tag on manhood. So this wasn't about manhood. This is about pride and ego.
Right. And also too, you know, I don't have anything against people and whatever their preference is. I just, from my background and all of the cousins, I mean, on one side of my family, I got all big boy cousins, and on the other side is all girls. So a man saying something like that, it makes me think you a little weird, because that's just not something that straight men say. Like, where does that come from? Like,
when he said that, when he said you sucked the blank of black folk, I'm like, bro, it sounds sus to me. Listen, when I hear men talk like that, I look at them sideways. I would never tell another man, you know what I'm saying, to suck my whatever. I wouldn't do that. So that comes off as homo. You know what I'm saying? So this whole, like I said, I'm from a different era, different time, but I don't move like that. I don't move like that. I don't hang around people who move like that. And so again, for him to claim to be a Christian and to conduct himself the way that he did, that's why I said I had to say something. And I was hoping that, and there may be other people that have channels. I just have not seen any, Lakeysha, that have come out and say, man, this dude is straight up fraud. And standing on biblical business and say, hey, bro, as a Christian, for me, as a Christian, you don't represent Christianity to me, bro. You up here making a mockery. It'd be no different if I was a Muslim and somebody claimed to be Muslim, they out here, you know, living foul. Then there'll be a right response to that as well too. And so again, when you see how Anton moves and what he says, and how he responds to women, and how he talks down to women, and how he, you know, mistreats women and then plays with women, and you're claiming to be married, bro. No, that's straight up foul.
I don't know how much of the Mika story that you are familiar with, because this is how I stumbled onto the Mika and him. I just start seeing pictures and me knowing, okay, if I had a husband, you're not, you know, there's pictures with his hand right above her waist side. Like, oh no, that it's something that's going on here.
I saw it on your channel. You the first one I saw. I was like, no, that's. As a matter of fact, I asked my wife. I said, what would you do? First of all, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. That's just straight up disrespectful. I mean, it's like I said, how that whole picture was sus and disrespectful. You know, again, disrespecting your wife, but then bragging about. I don't never go anywhere without a bad chick. Again, what married man says that? What Christian man says that? None. None.
You know, when he talks, he reminds me of everything that he says that he's not, because he talks about street guys and hood guys, but when he opens his mouth, that is what comes out, street and hood. Because I don't go nowhere without a bad chick with me. Sir, you married. Are you talking about your wife? Like, who's that chick?
And then he calls his wife his chick. That's another. I mean, I may have heard him call his wife one time, but most of the time you call his wife his chick. Like that, again, to I think to Jay's point, I think her name was Jazz. She said, "What you mean? She said your wife?" He said, "No, my chick." No, she mean your wife. She said, "Well, she said a wife is above a chick." He like, "Nah, my chick." So again, this whole juvenile, worldly, insensitive and disrespectful, you know, mentality this man has. And again, you have people following him. But hey, when the blind leads the blind, they both fall into a ditch.
Right. Well, I don't know if you know. Well, Mika has rebranded herself, and I believe she goes by the Messy Conservative now. So she has changed.
Oh, that's her.
Yes. So she's the Messy Conservative now. So she does, you know, she wants to disassociate. And one of his other proteges, or whatever he called them, I think she was going by Island Girl Q. Now she has changed her name. So I don't know what these chicks has got going on, but this is, somebody said this, and I don't remember who said it because I see so much stuff on social media. A lady said that, I cannot remember who said it, but she said what she believes Anton does is promises these girls that he's going to grow their platform and he's going to be able to leverage his followers for them. And I'm like, wait a minute. It doesn't work like that, because you can go on someone's channel and people will follow you because you're on that person's channel. but you need followers that want to follow you because they really want to watch your stuff. Some of those people may not watch. So I thought about it. I said, so maybe these girls came along with him because they felt like, okay, if I go on his, link up with him, it's a good possibility that I will get subscribers a little faster. But I don't know. But, that's what I can't remember who said that. It was, I just can't remember it. Now, do you want to, because we're about an hour in, I don't know how much time you have. I did see your message in the chat, so I did change it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I see it.
So did you want to take questions or how?
Sure. Yeah. It's your show. I'm here as a guest. Whatever. We can go off the dome, wherever you want to move.
Okay, let's see what they're saying in the chat. I'm just reading some of the questions here. So you guys can start putting, oh my God, there's so many questions. I don't know where to start. If you guys have a question, just re-put it in the chat because, child, it's a lot of them. So we'll just keep going.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Okay, here's one. I'm going to read this one.
Okay.
This is Mic Drop BBQ. Anton says a woman must have, and this was a video. I did see this one. Anton says a woman must have the box on the table to do business with him. He says any man doing business with a woman better be getting something. Now that's true. I did see that video.
Again, so the question is, would a Christian or would a dedicated married man say that? No. Answer is no to both.
Right.
Again, I really don't know why anyone would follow him hearing this kind of stuff, and again, and then to press him and take his quote and say, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? And you claim to be a Christian, Anton. Let me ask you about your conversion. Let's like you did with me, For the record, you didn't give me any scripted questions.
Right.
I told you when you had brought me on, whatever questions I can answer, I'll answer. If I don't know, I don't know. But you told me, hey, I'm going to ask you some questions. I said, okay, that's fine. But you didn't give me no script. You say I'm going to ask you this, and you can prepare. No. And so I would love to have a live conversation with Anton Daniels and say, hey man, let's talk about your conversion. Let's talk about some other things that you've said and see how these things line up with the Christianity that you claim to represent. And I know he wouldn't be able to stand 2 minutes with me with that.
Yeah, I don't think he would take an interview like that because I don't believe that the Christianity that he says he has, I don't think it's authentic. I think this is just a grift.
It's a grift. It's a straight up grift.
There's
but Lakeysha, why would a person like an April Chapman support that? Who professes to be a Christian? And she's been following. Listen, if you don't mind keeping it real, let's just keep it real. Why would you promote, push, platform, and then by the way, you fly to Detroit to interview him, knowing the kind of man that he is, and then if you didn't know, then after the fact, you see the videos that he's made. You have not made any videos telling people to stay away from him. You have not made any content telling people that, hey, I used to support Anton Daniels, but based on these things, boom, 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 I don't. But you have no problem making videos about me and claiming that I'm a false teacher and I'm a wolf and that people need to stay away from me. And I haven't done any of the things that Anton Daniels has done, not by a long shot. So how do you explain that? You really can't, other than saying this is all a grift game. It's all about them building their channel, building their platform, and these people claim to be Christians, Lakeysha, and they're not. And April Chapman and the rest that follow him are just as sus as Anton is.
Right. And that's why I don't do that fake church stuff. I just can't. It's just people like that just make me sick to my stomach. So are you saying that she came after you for doing your own commentary on Anton?
It was before then. It was before then. And let me see if I can kind of like give you the condensed version of it. There was a pastor, and some of y'all may not know the name, but I'll just say the name. The name was John MacArthur. He's dead now. He just died last year. But he has a history of over 50 years, about half a century of protecting PD files and spouse abusers. Right. And this is all documented. I had the court transcripts and all this kind of stuff, other kind of stuff. April Chapman and few others that was in that circle and I were cool until I was warning the church and warning other people to stay away from that, because this man is supporting women being abused and children being, SA. And so to build her channel up, she threw me under the bus and started making videos about me. And I'm pretty sure if you've been following like Candace Owens with the whole Erica Kirk thing and all that kind of stuff, I'm not sure if you have, but it was the same type of mentality and format where Candace would make videos about Erica Kirk, about Turning Point, slander, and all this other kind of stuff. And ironically, April would defend, Turning Point, defend Erica Kirk and say that Candace Owens is this and that. I'm like, well, ma'am, you're doing the same thing to me, falsely accusing, and you now your channel has grown, and you did it to make a name for yourself. So,
I see.
So yeah, to bring her on, so for her to bring Anton on, this is all a grift game. And I think somebody said, has 𝐶𝐿 made an attempt to reach Anton? Yes. Listen, and if y'all know a way for me to reach out to him, because I definitely have tried. I definitely have tried. I would love to. I would love to.
Okay. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that. I can't do that. Like, I can only be authentically my own crazy self. So all of, let me do this because I can do that. The crazy y'all see, that's just my normal crazy. It's just me. Wow.
It was bad. It was bad. And I can send you content on that, but it was so bad to where I was in tears reading the court transcripts of these children being assaulted by people in the church. And April Chapman knew about it. The people that followed her and supported her, they knew about it. And all they did was just try to throw up under the bus. It was sad.
Yeah. And so I don't like stuff like that. I have a politics channel. I have not been on there because every Epstein files. I talk about stuff like that because it just makes me sick to my stomach. So I don't like people like that. I don't like people that support people like that.
Yeah.
And this is what I've been telling people. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I'm somewhere in the middle. What I do care about is you supporting a PDF file president and one that is a racist. Now, if you are a Republican, I would say maybe wait this one out and just vote with the Democrats. And then when you get a new, contender, vote for that person. But if you are supporting a man like this, yeah.
Now let me ask this question, if you don't mind, and I'm not trying to shift it, but maybe that's a conversation you and I can have. I don't know if you want to have it here, maybe have it behind the scenes. I think there's some information that maybe you and I conversing about it. You may say, you know what, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about that. You know what I'm saying? But I now, for the record, do I believe Trump is a racist? No, I don't. But I have documented evidence and facts of that. Now, that doesn't mean that I agree with everything he does, because I don't. But the policies that I see him present and promote, that's what I stand on. But I believe conversations like that, though, Lakeysha, those are conversations that I like to have and engage with people, because I believe that's how we can grow and how we can learn, from each other. Because there may be some things that you may share with me. I say, you know what, I didn't think about that. Well, maybe I can look into that, a little bit more, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
That we sure can. But let me kind of tell you where I stand on Trump.
Sure.
Nobody can convince me that he ain't a racist. You wouldn't be able to convince me that, because it's just, here's the deal. There are some things that I couldn't say, like I'm not a racist, but you didn't know that I was a racist. I can just say a bunch of racist stuff and you'd be like, you a racist. There are some things that you should never, ever say. Like, you just can't say certain stuff. I can't go onto Truth Social and all of these, different networks or whatever and make racist jokes.
Give me an example if you can, Lakeysha. In real talk, give me because maybe I don't know. Give me an example if you don't mind. Since you're talking about it.
I'm not going to give an example because
okay.
You wouldn't be able to convince me. I am not a Trump supporter. Gotcha. If I had to choose to support Trump, I would say I'm coming home to the Lord. Okay, so that is how I don't F with the man. Okay?
I got you. I got you.
That's just how it is. Do we got any more questions in the chat? But we definitely can talk about it, because somebody put in the chat, I think this would be a great topic. I think it would, but I don't want I don't want us to get off
Right.
the topic. So it's definitely something that we can talk about.
Sure.
We definitely can talk
I appreciate
about
that. Yeah.
Okay, I like this. Although y'all go ahead and super chat your questions, but I'm going to bring this one up just because we were just talking about that. It says, folks really don't know what Trump has done to our community and our communities. Research him discriminating regarding housing at his properties, no renting to blacks. Yes, I remember.
Yeah, and I would push back on that, but I won't push back on here because there's other context to that. But I know where that question has come from, but I also know the other side to that property as well too. So, but I get it.
Oh, I like this. And then we go, and then after this, we go here, and then maybe we can, you know, like
this your show. I don't want to deviate or nothing like that. Yeah.
Mic drop barbecue. So is it racist for Biden to say you ain't black if you don't vote for me? LOL. White dude literally said blacks are his if they are truly black. Now he did say that. Now he said
and now Lakeysha. Now let me go there for this one point. How would you feel if someone were to say that to you and it was on your platform and millions of other people saw it, like Charlemagne or Renard is what I call him. He said that on old boy's chat on old boy's show, and no pushback at all.
Who is
none?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, yeah, Joe Biden was on the Breakfast Club. I remember watching it. And I'm saying to myself, like, bro, you're not gonna check this man, even respectfully. Hold up. You're not gonna question my blackness based on whether or not I vote for you. Matter of fact, if you want to talk about somebody racist, Joe Biden is the racist. Joe Biden is the one. I mean, this man, please don't get me started with that.
I listen. I believe that because
yeah.
Kamala left. I felt like she was trying to be nice, but I think it's more stuff happened to her than she's willing to say. Listen, I honestly believe it's not just one side. I believe it's all up and through there. It's just not one side. I don't feel like that.
I get it. Yeah, and like I said, maybe you and I can have that conversation about that 1977 housing joint. Because I guarantee you, if I were to ask you that question, like, did you know this? Did you know that? You probably would say, no, I didn't know that. But we can have that conversation on the side. That's cool.
Right. So what I want to show you something. Give me your honest opinion. Because when I saw this video, this is what let me know that I was going to drag Anton for filth.
Being married to Anton. Oh, wow. Times it can be hard and sad and difficult because Anton has a lot of different personalities, and so you have to be a certain type of woman to deal with. Anton is very emotional. He doesn't communicate effectively. I don't think that he has killed anybody before. I think he's capable of it. I've seen him angry before. He's just like a totally different person. When he's angry, he blacks out.
Wow. This was the one you was talking about where Anton was recording her.
Yes,
that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. I saw that on your live, and I was concerned about that because I'm like, bro, that sounds like an abuser. Right. That has all the earmarks of an abuser.
Right. Yeah. And when I saw it, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, y'all better check on Anton's wife because something ain't right. So, like I said, the guy that sent me that, I'm like, what is this? Where did you get this from?
Yeah.
And he said this is an interview that he did some years ago, but he has since removed it. But of course, people screen record things. When you saw, you were like, okay, this seems like an abuse situation.
Oh yeah, my antennas went up. I was like, bro, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it sounded like a confessional. Like she was kind of like reaching out without actually saying it, you know what I'm saying? Until when you had mentioned earlier that he was the one behind the camera, recording the whole thing.
Right. So I don't know. I know I had mentioned the What Up Doe podcast. Have you saw any of their?
Never heard of it. Yeah, that's my first time ever hearing that. Yeah, I didn't know that he had brothers that hosted a podcast like that.
Okay, well, let's get into this clip.
Okay.
They got their own opinion. We show the clip. Anton like family does. I don't like neither one of them doing what they did, talking to each other like that, pulling the family involved. But it should have never happened. And again, we got two more successful black men going at each other, tearing each other families down, and then now it can mess up both of their careers. Whether one, if it don't mess up one or not, it's still a point. We got two black men going at it again, which that's overall, that's all that matters. That's what I don't like.
That's a tough phone call. Somebody there, what up, though? Dirt Dog. Talk to me.
What up, though? This is Dre.
Little bro, your brother. This is his other brother.
Nah, this the other
This
brother.
the brother who would have fought.
No. If Andre would have been sitting with Corey, listen, I'm gonna tell you, Dre don't even gotta tell you. Especially if it's a Diamond Deli Dre, you know what I'm saying? It's a different Dre now. But if we go back to Diamond, give me 1 second. God damn, Dirty, let me just say what I gotta say. Okay, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna let Dre speak, but I know Dre. Dre was an asshole when he was young. You know what I'm saying?
Oh wow, wow.
No disrespect, I love you.
No,
brother.
it's true. It's the
you know
truth.
What I'm saying? You used to want to fight my battles for me. You'll come from the west side to the east side. He said what? That nigga said what? Calm down.
So this is the 50-year-old Dre that don't do that no more.
Okay, go ahead, go for it.
So my thing is, you can't call somebody that they kissing A and think that it's not going to offend them, but when they say you sucking D, it's supposed to offend you. It go both ways.
Facts.
Right.
I agree.
But
I mean, you can't tell me what offends me, right?
Right.
So when I offend you, you can't get mad at it.
True story. But why go on a podcast, period, if you think like if y'all not a match for each other, like, you know what I'm saying? If
get your numbers up.
See, like that, for me, that part don't make sense. I would have never even went on that show. You know what I'm saying?
Now, if you were listening to, so what you're hearing is the brother. This is Anton's brother on the phone. He's calling into this podcast, but the men that see, you know, on the couch, these are like, you know, people who kind of grew up with Anton, but for some reason the brothers are not appearing on the show this time, but one of them has called in, and he's going to get into, so what he's doing is he's addressing the situation with Corey Holcomb and Anton, and pretty much what he said is, you know, people normally do this, or he's saying Anton did this, and essentially he was doing it to, you know, get his numbers up. And this is kind of something that we had spoke about, like, you know, these people go on these different podcasts and, you know, do, you know, different things to kind of get their numbers up. But what you're going to hear is they're going to ask him specifically about how was Anton's daughter doing? Now, we're hearing it now, but this interview or this podcast happened months ago, so it was right after the Corey Holcomb situation.
Gotcha.
Hey, me either. I wouldn't have went on that show, but I mean,
feel like it's not working. For me, it's not working.
But Dre, let me ask you something. Is it seriously? Is it affected Anton's daughter, or is that just cap?
No, it didn't affect her. I mean, she, from what I know, she don't know anything about it. You know, they try to keep her out of that or away from that kind of stuff. And he told me she's good for now. I mean, I don't know if anybody else has told her, but last time yesterday.
Well, we might have lawyers. Hold on, slow down. We might have lawyers involved here. That girl is traumatized.
Now, as you can see, when asked brother, he said, "Oh, she's fine," but then they was like, "Wait a minute, there may be lawyers involved." So now it's out of a joke. So again, this guy went around telling everybody his daughter was, you know, damn near dead. Okay, she almost died.
Almost want to unalive herself and all this other kind of stuff. And seeing a psychiatrist and all that, you know,
all to get attention. You know, and I did it, and it's crazy because I did a video back then. I'm like, Anton using his daughter. I don't buy it. I don't believe it, because as a parent, if one of my children are suffering, you ain't gonna see me online. You're not gonna see me consistently going after this person that you say hurt your daughter. So when the brother, you know, did that podcast, it's What Up Though, it's you know, still on their channel. I was like, I'm not surprised. Like, I'm not surprised at all.
And all of this is because somebody said a word. Somebody called you a name. I mean, and how many prisons in our country are full of men, grown men, whole men, because somebody said a name, somebody called them a name. I mean, just this is where we are as a people, unfortunately. And then you see this stuff played out on social media, and then we wonder why we as a people can't succeed and can't thrive, or we can't ever get past the things that we have really self-induced in our own because somebody has talked about my mama, or somebody, called me a name, or somebody, look, bro, other people groups don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. I mean, okay, so you call me a name, they don't take nothing away from me. I can remove myself from that. But because somebody said, well, you're not going to punk me, just punk you how, bro? I can just get up and walk away from your platform. Unless you're going to put your hands on me, then that's another different, that's an issue. That's another problem. But because of a word.
Right. I'm going to acknowledge some of the super chats that I forgot to acknowledge. New Beginnings, Mind and Spa, thank you for the super chat. Mike Drop by Barbecue, thank you for your super chat. And then there was another, I don't even know, what does it say? Love Talk with, I can't really see it, but thank you for the super chats. I can't read it because the writing is so, little. Now, on your channel, give us an overview of some of the things that you discussed.
Some of the things I discussed. So I have a mixture of sermons that I have actually had on a platform called Sermon Audio, but I haven't having to move them over to my YouTube channel. But we discuss politics. I discuss the Black family. I discuss issues regarding racism. I discuss white supremacy. I discuss marriage. Discuss family. Discuss children. Pretty much any topic that may be prevalent. That may like for instance, I think the latest one that I addressed and talked about, matter of fact, was the whole Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens thing, and some of the statements that were made, whether or not he was a racist, whether versus what was actually said. I've addressed those issues, but again, overall, everything that I try to address, I strive to bring a biblical worldview to it and bring the scriptures to bear, because I'm like, I don't want to give you my opinion. My opinion doesn't matter. What matters to me is, what does the Bible say? What does the Word of God say? I deal with church history. We talk about, how, even for those who may be interested, we talk about issues regarding church history. Some people think that, Christianity is the white man's religion. It's not. Christianity actually was in Africa, and how the church fathers were African, North Africans, like Cyprian and Tertullian and others, Athanasius and others. And so, I try to bring a worldview that is biblical and that is at the same time relevant to our culture and to our time. I talk about fatherhood. I talk about, the Black family. I talk about, abortion, and how Planned Parenthood has done a number on the Black community since 1973. Over 20+ million of our people have been snuffed out due to racist policies that have really started with a particular party and have now been morphed into calling it choice. And we are disproportionately destroying ourselves, and we're basically given, carte blanche to do it, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, I know you had mentioned the Candace Owens.
Yeah.
I didn't really follow that. Obviously, I heard about the Charlie Kirk situation, and then I saw Candace Owens, in which she was talking about like what really happened to Charlie, Erica, and she was kind of making it seem like, okay, Erica girl, what's up? Did you have, maybe something to do with this? But I didn't really watch it, so I didn't really know what she was saying, but I would see clips of it.
Yeah, she basically has gone on to say that Erica is responsible for the unaliving of her husband. She's going on record in saying that. Now, I hope she got deep pockets and that she can prove that, because once this case has been, I guess, tried with the alleged shooter, she's gonna be seen in court, because they're definitely keeping receipts. I mean, that kind of, those types of accusations, you better have your ducks in a row, because you're accusing somebody of a crime, and you're basing it on, and this I actually heard her say this, basically on a dream that Charlie Kirk came to her and told her who did it.
Okay. And that's what I'm saying. I didn't really follow it or watch it. I just saw clips. And from what I saw, I thought she was doing more of a conspiracy sort of a thing, but you're saying she flat out said it. Okay.
She moved past conspiracy. Yeah, she didn't move the straight up, attack and condemning people just because of her feeling. And then she'll guise it and say, oh, I'm just asking questions. No, you're not asking questions. You're basically saying, you said this person is responsible for the assassination of a man. And you said that, how do I know this? Because Charlie Kirk told me in a dream.
Oh,
bro, come on, man. Come on, man. Yeah. So if you know, because she definitely said it.
Right. They're putting it in the chat like, yeah, she shouldn't have never said that.
Yeah.
So the only reason that I knew of what she was doing, because again, when you go onto YouTube, some things pop up and it was so many people.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I kind of feel like she probably went down that rabbit hole because of the analytics and knowing that people, but yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out for her, but they were over there. Cause I was like, dang, how many people?
Oh, yeah.
6 million. I said, oh my gosh. Like,
oh yeah. She definitely got her numbers up. She got her numbers up on that. She definitely got the bag on that. That's for sure. Like I said, I hope her pockets is deep because she's gonna need it.
Right. And somebody put in the chat, and I have not saw Drewski's actual skit, but I saw the makeup and I said, I don't know who the makeup person, but they got that down packed because that makeup looked like that lady. But I know he had put something on social media. And was
that's rumored though, as far as her suing him, that there's no substantiation of that. That's all rumored that she's supposed to be suing him, from what I understand and researched and found out.
Right. And I heard though that there is some kind of law that protects comedians. Did you know that?
I did not know that. No. It should be under free. It should be under the First Amendment. Other than that, I wouldn't know.
Somebody said sounds like a Tasha K moment. Oh no, not a Tasha K. Well, you know what? I don't know because I didn't see it. I did not see it. But like I said, I know that Candace Owens had the people there because I saw it. It was like 5. I said, what is she talking about? But I saw the thumbnail and I said, it seems like she's trying to imply that, this lady has something to do with her husband dying.
Yeah, she did. And I would say, remember we were talking about earlier about people doing or saying things online and because of the network and the circle of friends you have. So I don't know if you know who Brandon Tatum is, but Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens, they're cool. But Brandon Tatum, he supports, Erica and stands with TPUSA, while at the same time he knows and have seen videos of Candace, blasting and attacking, going at and accusing Erica, and he would never call her out. So this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. He has never. I mean, people like Ben Shapiro and others have called her out by name and have exposed her for the things that she said. But Brandon Tatum refuses to do it. He'll go around it. He'll talk, in vague terms. And people are like, bro, why don't you call out her? This is, and he'll say, that's my friend. But that's the whole point. Again, this whole mentality.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense because I was a little bit confused because there was a sit down between Erica Kurt and Candace Owens. So I was like, okay, so what? I guess it didn't go good.
It was from what was reported. They had a respectful conversation, but I can't tell because Candace went back out and was continuing what she left off at.
Okay. Yeah. So, so you're a Trump supporter?
I support his policy. Yes. I voted for him in 2020. I voted for him in 2024. I would have voted for. Now I didn't vote for him in 2016 because I thought he was a joke. I thought it was like, he don't get nothing. Hillary gonna wash him. But I didn't vote for Hillary either. But yeah, I voted for Trump. I stand on that. And again, I would love to have that conversation, with anyone regarding
Epstein files.
Say again.
How do you feel about the Epstein files?
Anybody that's involved in that and that they were responsible for any type of SA, they need to go to prison. If the statute of limitations are not not expired, then they need to be dealt with. But I do know this: people thought that Trump was in it, and I believe this based on the facts of it. If he were guilty, like Clinton and like boy, what's his name? They call him Timo Barak. You know what I'm talking about, the light-skinned brother from New York. I just remember his name. But anyway, These people's names are on these files in emails going to his island and all this other kind of stuff. And ain't nobody saying anything about that. But if Trump's name was in it, if he was doing some shady stuff, they would have been exposed it and had him thrown under the jail. Now they wanted the files released. Now it's released. So what's going on with it?
So I don't think it's that easy. You know what I mean? I don't think it's that easy, because if you can like see all of the stuff that's going on with, him firing the folks and all of that, I don't believe it's that easy when he owns the entire administration and the folks running around doing whatever he say.
So let me ask this question. Did you vote for Barack?
I sure did. Okay.
What policies did Barack institute that benefited the Black community? Now, before you answer, I'm gonna give you a quote though. There's a particular person, you may know his name. He said, since the presidency of Barack Hussein Obama, the Black community has failed in every metric, since Barack Obama had been president of the United States. And this is a Black man who said that.
Okay, so here's the deal. Why we talking about Barack Obama? Why are we not talking about Donald Trump? Is he the current president? What is he?
Yeah. I have no problem talking about Trump. I'm saying you asked me what did I support him? I support his policies. The Epstein files, again, to your point, if Trump were in these Epstein files, in fact, Clinton himself under oath said that Trump didn't do anything. He didn't do anything wrong. He has no record, no knowledge of him doing anything remotely wrong. Matter of fact, Trump had reported Epstein to the FBI. This is all documented.
Right.
Now, I don't defend Trump's behavior like I wouldn't defend anybody's behavior.
Right.
But I'm talking about the policies. Trump's policies has helped the Black community more than Obama's policies ever helped. Matter of fact, Obama's policy helped the alphabet community more than it helped Black folk.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what are his policies. Are you talking about like the Project 2020?
No. I'm talking about HBCUs being permanently funded. I'm talking about opportunity zones. I'm talking about this was the only president that have given commutations and pardons to Black people, like Alice Johnson, like Angela Stanton King, like Kwame Kilpatrick. He's even supported people posthumously. Like Jack Johnson, who was accused of manumission, and he pardoned him. This man's policies has helped the Black community in so much where now even with the First Step Act. Now, people in the comments can be upset. That's fine. Listen. My thing is, I have no problem having a conversation. Let's have a conversation about the facts.
I get it. I'm just so. When you say the policies, that's where I'm stuck, because I don't, we got how many Black women that lost their job. I work for the federal government, by the way, at once upon a time. So I decided it was definitely my time to leave when this administration came through, because all of the stuff that they was doing, I don't got time for that. Like, I just said, okay, this is a great time for me to leave. So
what about our military? Do you think the military was stronger? Under Biden than this presidency now is?
When you say was our military stronger, so this man only been in office a little over a year, and since he been in office, we got planes falling out the sky. We got the TSA people ain't getting paid. I mean, I'm trying to find out what is. Do
you think that's under Trump's? Do you think that's under Trump that's doing it, or do you think that's under Congress? Because Congress doesn't. Trump doesn't control Congress. Those are our elected officials that we send supposedly from the state to the White House. So who really is responsible for these shutdowns? I mean, matter of fact, to the point, he's the one that's paying the TSA agents through other funding, and now they're coming at Trump saying he shouldn't be doing that. So it's like, where do we go with this?
I just realized I learned this, that people that vote for Trump, their thought process is really different, because when you say who controls Congress, now we saw this president where they Congress was out to lunch for months and wasn't doing anything because they didn't want to swear in certain Congress officials to vote against the Epstein file. So, and when you say all of these different things, you have this president doesn't even follow the rules. Like this man does it. I mean, he's been sued like this state. So it's like, yeah,
being sued. Yeah, I mean, being sued for what? Civilly, criminally? I mean, what are we referring to?
Again, like I said, it seems like whenever dealing with a Trump supporter, it's like it's to be the excuses after the excuses. Sued for not following the rules, withholding payments from different states, all of this bull crap that he's doing that nobody else has ever done. I mean,
I wouldn't say nobody has ever done it. And again, I'm not trying to justify anything. I'm just stating the facts based on documented evidence. And I would just say this. If we're talking about, you mentioned about policy, we're talking about policies. I'm saying, what policies has he enacted that has destroyed the Black community? That's what I'm asking, because I have not seen that.
I'm trying to figure out where are his policies. That's why I said, when you say policies, are you talking about the Project 2020 or 2020?
Well, I mentioned about him permanently funding HBCUs. Obama didn't do that. Biden didn't do that.
Okay.
I mean, that benefited Black people. Him supporting and also authorizing.
I don't know that. I honestly don't really know if that's true because I have not looked.
I would encourage you to look it up.
But let's say he did.
Okay.
Oops. What the word they be saying? Oopsie-doo. So what? Like
whoop-de-doo.
Whoop-de-doo. You take food stamps from people. And here's the deal. I'm not with people just using certain benefits as a way of life. But listen, there are folks that done lost their job that need food stamps. There's people that done lost their job that needs medical assistance. There's people, elderly people who need, whatever this thing is that they give you where you need to get your housing paid for. I am for programs like that because people need it. Now, what I ain't for is folks just taking, just using it to just use it because they don't need it. So I am definitely with any program that's going to help people during a time that they may need these programs.
Yeah, and I am too, but I believe the purpose of government is not to provide health care or provide any other subsidies that's outside of its purview. Now they can, so I'm not talking about the ability of it, but if we're starting to rely on government to take care of us, then that brings us all the way back to where we were back in the 60s, the civil rights era. What I'm saying is that if I'm looking at policy and looking at how the Black family was doing better in a particular period of time versus where we are now, I would have to ask myself the question, okay, so what happened? Are we actually struggling financially, and are we worse off financially than our ancestors were? I would say we're not. I mean, you and I are sitting here in the comfort of our own homes, live streaming. I'm pretty sure your family, my family, is doing better than our ancestors would ever dream of doing. And yet we're still talking about stuff or talking about a man who Black folk had no problem with until he became president or until he decided to become president. I mean, he was on every movie. He was on every rap video or mentioned in every rap video that was known. Nobody, Oprah had no problem with him. Nobody had a problem with Trump until he decided to run for the Republican Party. And again, I'm not defending his behavior, but I would defend policies in so much that those policies are biblical. And if anybody can show me where they're not, then I'll have a conversation.
Where can I find his policies? Because the only policy that I saw was Project 2025. That's the only policy that I saw.
And that's not his policies. That was from a secondary source. That had nothing to do with the Trump administration. None whatsoever at all.
Because everything that's in there is stuff that we're starting to see happen now.
Everything?
Well, I mean, it's happening.
I mean, but that's not his policies. No, that's not what he was pushing. Now, and I will say this: just because a document may promote something, and he says, "Okay, I support." I'm going to ask you this question: do you support school choice?
I do. I used to have a school.
Okay, so does Trump's policy support school choice? Democrat policy. I'm saying, Why is it that school choice is being frowned upon by one particular party, but it's being pushed and promoted by another party that helps our people?
So let me make sure you understand. I don't vote for people. I don't pick, like, you know, like you said, okay, he's for school choice. I don't vote for people because he may have policies that I like. I vote for people based on who they are as a person, not only their policies. I would never vote for anybody that had more felonies on their record. And, I could never vote for a criminal, because a black man would never be able to be president if he had one felony. So you got this one and he can be president with 40 felonies or 35.
So you're saying because a person was charged, even though the criminal justice system was weaponized to falsely accuse. I mean, the Fourth Amendment was violated. You raid a person's house without due process and without just cause. You bring up Trump. And I'm using Trump charges, facetiously. You trump up charges against him over a civil matter and make it a federal matter. And you don't believe that's a weaponization against of our criminal justice system? Now, again, all I'm asking is, if we're gonna be balanced here, let's be balanced with the facts, because a person's behavior does not affect my life if they're in the White House. Joe Biden had crack cocaine in the White House. He had crack cocaine in the White House. That ain't affect me at all. But that was being covered up. Obama had started 2 wars without congressional approval. Libya and Syria, I believe, set off 2 wars. Anybody say anything about that? He had no congressional approval about that. He funded Iran, gave them $1 billion in the dark of night, palace of cash. Nobody talks about that. So when I'm giving information, I'm talking about documented evidence that I believe we as a people, we have to start doing our own research instead of going off of the talking points of social media or the left-leaning media, even the right. Because I know, even with Fox News, I don't rock with Fox News and everything that they say. I don't. I want to examine the facts, and wherever the facts lie, that's what I want to stand on. There's a book that I would encourage people to read. It's called The Scandalous Presidency of Barack Hussein Obama. This is all documented evidence.
He had a trial, so the people didn't have to convict his ass, but they did. So
you sure about that? You sure they didn't have to convict him? I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just asking.
But this is the thing. I'm not a how somebody be a fan of somebody and they never do anything that they do. I'm not like that. So even if I like somebody, I'm able to say, oh, this person, you shouldn't have did that. So I'm not one, all sort of a thing. If I like you, you're perfect. I just noticed with people that support Trump, they never see anything that this man does wrong. I know somebody, I know a person, and I had to stop talking to this person because I said, this person is stupid. This person voted for Donald Trump. They received every form of public assistance that it is. And I said, so why did you vote for Donald Trump? You do know that he's finna end your housing. What are you going to do? Do you know what this person said? Oh, I'll just get a job. I said, well, why didn't you just get a job a long time ago? So you mean to tell me? So I said, yeah, I don't want to talk to you no more because you're crazy. You mean to tell me a lot of the benefit that this person gets, they qualify for, but you voted against yourself? I thought that was very weird.
I would never say, for me, I don't just vote for a person and turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to anything that a person does. I've gone on record. I even made videos in my disagreement with Trump and some of the things he may have said or done. I believe he's petty when he should not be petty. I believe he does not handle himself presidentially when it comes to people who publicly disagree with him. But again, mean tweets and posts don't affect my life at all. What affects my life are policies that are diametrically opposed to my position and my beliefs as a Christian. And so that's what I push back on. I can care less about a person's personality. I care about whether that personality is being pushed as policy. Case in point, back in 2020, right? We all remember COVID. We're being forced to wear masks, knowing that this stuff didn't work. Being forced to. People losing their job because they refused to take an injection. I'll put it that way. This stuff reminds me back in the day of the Tuskegee experiment, Lakeysha. Remember that? Right? Who did this stuff affect? It affected us as Black folk. But that wasn't under Trump. But nobody said nothing about it. And I'm saying if Trump did do that, all hell would have broke loose. And I still would now have taken it. I would never have taken. I didn't take it to this very day.
I got a question for you, and this is a good one. You talked about due process, and somebody was in the chat, and they write on. You talk about due process for Trump, but what about those folks that he deported? Did they get due process?
You want to know the answer to that? You want to know the real answer to that? Illegal aliens should not have due process. You came over here illegally. Now let me go further. Let's say you and I were in the car, right? And I'm running drugs. I get pulled over, and we got kids in the car. Are the police going to separate us from our kids, or are they going to put us all in jail?
I think the point that's missing is we actually, as the United States, we do have a process, though.
So we do
have a process.
No, I'm saying, but illegal aliens should not have constitutional rights because they came over here illegally.
No, I get what you're saying, but I think what they're saying is what you're saying. I get it. Why are you here? You don't get due process because you shouldn't be here. But because we have these established laws that clearly were not followed, how can you say that he didn't get due process when they didn't get due process?
Okay, okay, hold on. Okay, are you trying to conflate illegal aliens coming into the country with what Trump did?
Or you're saying because they're illegal aliens, they didn't get due process. They didn't need it, is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying they should not be entitled to due process, like they should not be entitled to our benefits in this country. Why should somebody that come over to my country illegally have the same benefits as you and I? Matter of fact, because it doesn't help us as people.
I agree with that. Now, I definitely agree with that. I just don't agree. I just don't agree with the way that it was handled. Now, I agree with you because we work hard over here, and people coming over here taking benefits. But here's the deal. I really don't know why, things are the way that they are when it comes to, the politics and the presidents and things like that. But
the policies, they're getting paid.
I do feel like the way that it was handled, though.
We say wait, what do you mean by the way it was handled? With who? What agency? Talking about? With ICE? Or what? I'm trying to understand your point.
With ICE.
Okay, so what way are you referring to? You talking about the two people that were killed? I mean, what? I'm really trying to follow your point.
Yeah, right. So I haven't even spoke about the two people that were killed. There were ICE agents going to, kids' schools, just a bunch of different things that were happening.
Okay.
They even spoke about the people that were locked up. They were citizens, like locking up folks that's citizens. I can't really call out every single thing.
I get you.
I would really have to remember.
No, I get you.
The process seemed to be flawed, or maybe there wasn't a process. We just gonna snatch them up and get them the hell up out of here.
I think there can be outliers, but that does not speak to the overall whole of the agency. Of course, just like you have with anything, anytime a human being gets involved in something, you're going to have error, and sometimes those errors can be tragic, and you need to be held accountable for that. But to say that we don't need ICE to deal with an influx of illegal aliens that have come over into this country for the past 4 years. Now, what about the families who have been affected by that, whose children have been unalived or have been SA'd because of these illegal aliens, right? What about their rights? What about their freedom?
We need ICE, but we don't need them with masks.
Why not? Why not? Why? So if I'm being doxxed, for doing my job, mind you, Congress is the one that enforced this. They signed this into law. Nobody had a problem. And I know y'all getting upset about me mentioning Obama, but Obama deported more illegal aliens than Trump did. Those are the facts, y'all. Let's just, and again, I didn't hear Nan Negro say anything when Obama did it. So why is it a problem now when Trump is doing it? And really it's helping our communities. They ain't going into these ritzy neighborhoods, bringing these illegals over here. They're coming to the hood with this stuff. So who is it really helping and who is it really hurting? So I'm saying, where were y'all at when Obama was doing it? Where were y'all at when Obama was snatching people from their children and putting these cages that everybody was lying about Trump did? No, these were Obama's cages. And I'm just saying, if we're gonna state the facts, state the facts. Miss me with the feelings. Let's deal with the facts of the matter. If Trump is wrong about something, I have made it clear on my channel and have made it clear on things he's done. Hey man, he was wrong for that. But he's not wrong in deporting people that have entered into our country illegally. And why is it that you can't go over to England with that? You can't go to no other nation and come into their country illegally and think that goes okay. But only in America that happens. And I'm just confused with that. I really am. I didn't mean to rant, sis. I'm sorry.
I mean, like I said before, Trump, people that support Trump is like, there is no end. Like, it's like they have an excuse for everything. And I just don't understand that, because it's just
so tell me what your concern is about me. Because again, this is you and I talking. People right now, they're ear hustling in our conversation, and I'm cool with that. But look,
it seems like you have a comeback for everything, and that's okay. But you know, everybody ain't lying on Trump. Everything.
I'm not saying nobody's lying. I'm not saying nobody's lying. Yeah, so, I'm not saying nobody's lying.
You know, and you also always use Obama as an example.
Because the reason I'm sorry.
Well, who was the last president? That was Biden, right?
Yeah, Biden was. But the reason why I'm saying Obama is because he boasted and said he had no scandals in his office when he was president. That's a lie. That's a lie. He did.
What was
matter of fact, the scandals that he had should have had him in prison for treason. So it's the reason why I mentioned Obama, because I know black folk love them some Obama. I know them. I'm black too.
Do.
Okay, so but I'm asking, what has this man? So I'm saying, what has this man done? What has this man done that has helped our people since he was in office? He helped the alphabet community pass laws for them, but didn't pass nothing for us. And these ain't my words. This is Tavis Smiley's words. They made my words. And now some of y'all may not like Umar Johnson, and I don't care for him either, because I know he's a racist. But I'm saying, if it's true, it's true. And listen, a person being convicted of 34 charges does not mean that they were guilty. Hear what I'm saying?
Come on.
Hear me. Listen. Let me unpack it. Allow me to unpack it. I am taking criminal justice courses right now. Okay. Have you ever heard of this organization called the Innocence Project?
I've heard of the Innocence Project. Yes.
Okay. You know how many cases that people were found guilty and are in prison right now, although they did nothing wrong?
Right, but we're not gonna say that happened to no.
I'm not.
Here's the deal. We're talking about cases of people who are poor, and you can't add Trump to that. Like Trump.
Why? No. But isn't justice justice? But isn't justice justice regardless of a person's socioeconomic status?
It ain't. Trump did everything they said he did, and that's
everything. You saying Trump did everything that he was accused of doing?
He did everything that they said he did. That's why he was convicted by a jury. That's why he tried to overturn it. What happened with that?
Overturn what? Hold on. Overturn what?
Didn't he file an appeal or try to do something like that? What happened with that?
Yeah, the falsified business records. That wasn't when he was president. That wasn't when he was president at all. This stuff was civil. This stuff was civil cases that they flipped and made to be felonious. Look at the documents. Matter of fact, the Supreme Court of New York, They overturned it because they said this was based on faulty evidence.
So everybody know Trump.
No, that's what I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you is, just because a person is found guilty for something does not necessarily mean that they were tried and that they were given it was based on reasonable doubt. This is why I'm talking about people being framed, about people being falsely accused. And it shouldn't matter of a person's socioeconomic status. What should matter is this. If a person says that they have presidential immunity, okay, it's a true story. A president has presidential immunity to take documents home because he's the president of the United States. And then the federal government or the criminal justice system takes that and says, no, you don't have the right to do that. And we're going to charge you with the federal crime. But then a person who was not the president, but was a vice president, takes documents from the White House and puts it in the garage of his home. And he's not charged for that. And he was never president. Is that justice?
Whatever they said Trump did, he did. Okay, I don't like Trump. You will never convince me to like him. And
I'm not trying to make you like him. I'm just asking that we be fair and call balls balls and strikes strikes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So when you speak of cases, I get it. People are convicted all the time on stuff that they did, but I don't know nobody that was convicted 34 times. So
I mean, again, do you? Because I think you mentioned about Trump and his administration doing dirty stuff and saying that and I don't want to misquote what you're saying, Lakeysha, and him being in charge of what did you say he was in charge of? I'm sorry. I want to make sure that you I'm quoting you right.
So I believe my point was, you mentioned Congress. We all know that they vote on different stuff, but even in Congress, it's the votes, right? So we were in a situation where there were more Republicans. So, there was a time where there was a new Democrat that was coming in, which was going to break the tie on them voting for the Epstein files. They literally were gone. They were not in Congress. And it was simply because they didn't want that person to vote. Like once that vote came in, they had the votes to release the Epstein file. So when you speak on Congress, I totally understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is you cannot sit up here and tell me that Trump is playing the game the way that he should be playing it, because he's doing all kinds of things that he shouldn't be doing for things to be working in his favor. He even said, what is her name? What's that lady's name?
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah.
She's even come forward and said that, Trump called her and basically told her, listen, Marjorie, we cannot release the Epstein files because my friends are gonna, he said
it's gonna be very bad. Yeah, he did say that. He did say that. Yep.
So it's like obviously there is Congress and they vote for certain things, but they intentionally, they went out of session to not get these files. And it's crazy because this is a man that ran on saying, oh, when I become president, we're going to release the Epstein file.
He sure did. And I agree. He should have released it and made good on his promise when he initially said that. And I have gone on public record and said that. But Keysha, let me ask you the question. Under whose presidency was the Epstein files released? Under Biden's or Trump's?
Right. So you said, when were they released?
I said, whose presidency was it released under Biden's presidency or under Trump? Because Biden had the House, they had the Senate, and they had the presidency. So why weren't they released when he was in office?
Because you know very well that when there is an open case, they're not going to release files when they're an open case. So what's her name? Ghillian Maxwell.
Ghillian Maxwell, yeah.
Right. So they could, because I asked myself the same question. They couldn't be released because she was going through, what was that like? She was trying to do an appeal or something. So,
but Epstein was already indicted. So why did not? But I'm talking about Ghillian Maxwell. That's a separate case. Why weren't the Epstein files released? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. So it's a separate case, but they're linked together pretty much with the same crimes, the same information. Even if she was charged with different things, they were linked together.
She was a co-conspirator. She was a co-conspirator. But I'm saying the Biden Justice Department could have released the files. They had Congress They had the majority of the House. They had the majority of the Senate, and they had the White House. And Biden, and listen, it's not like Biden's DOJ didn't do whatever they wanted to do when they were in office and in power. So why weren't the files released then? He had the power to do it.
Why is it that Trump supporters, whenever you ask a question, they always say, "Why didn't this?" or "Why did?" Like, why is that? We're talking about here. Like, I don't understand.
Sure.
You want me to go? Oh, I don't know. Like,
no. I asked you the question. I said, under whose presidency were the files released? And we both agreed that it was released under Trump. And I admit and concede to your point.
After you agreed that he didn't want to,
right. And I concede, I concede to that point, and I agree. And I said it was not a good look. It was not a good look for him to do that. But notice what he said. He said he did not. He said because it would be very bad for those people that whose names are involved in that. So he wasn't protecting himself. I believe that he should have just released the files and let the chips fall where they proverbially may have failed. That's what I believe he should have done. I believe he should have made good on his promise initially and had released those files that he said he was going to do when he was campaigning. He didn't. He dragged his feet, and it was a bad look. But were they released? Yes, they were. Was his name mentioned in those files to where he would be incriminated? No, they weren't. How do we know that? Because if they were, they would have been released.
Well, here's my deal. When you are the president of the United States and you're more concerned about protecting your name in there, even if you say he didn't do nothing, his name was in there.
Yeah, his name was in there, but it was in there criminally. Just Jay-Z's name was in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his name was in there.
Whoopi Goldberg's name was in there.
But you, as a president, care more about people seeing your name and your friend's name than you care about what happened to kids. Yeah, that's weird to me.
Well, I believe his under his administration, he has actually have rescued children from, and I want everybody to be flagged, but from child endangerment under this particular presidency. Again, Pizzagate didn't happen under Trump. And a person's name being mentioned does not make them a criminal either. I can mention some person's name, doesn't mean that they're guilty. I mean, and because if that's where we're going, we're walking down a very dangerous slope when we're saying a person's name is mentioned, then it automatically ties them to crime. I don't think we want to set that precedent. I don't really think we do. Now, a person, you don't have to like him. I'm not trying to make you like him. I'm not trying to make anybody like him. All I'm saying is what made people not like him. It wasn't because he did wrong to black people or that he's a racist. I'm like, how is he a racist? And if I'm a racist, then I'm a sorry excuse for a racist, because why would I do for people that I despise when I don't have to? I'm not under any obligation to help you, and if I don't, then I shouldn't, because if I'm a racist, I'm gonna live up to that.
Right. Well, I mean, he didn't. Well, you say it'd be interesting because whenever I ask something, you say, "Oh, I got the documentation." Trump wasn't he sued for not renting to black people? And you said that's
in the 1970s.
Right. You said that was incorrect too, right?
Yeah, the context is not. It's not fully described. It was low income residents, and if I were a landlord or if I owned a property, I don't want low income people coming in my neighborhood or in my or taking a tenancy in my dwelling if I know they can't pay for it. Case in point, Section 8. I wouldn't want them in there. Now, I understand now that could be discriminatory, but it is what it is. I have that right. That's what happened. And how do I know that? Because it's documented. They settled out of court for it, but this man also sued. He also sued Mar-a-Lago for discriminating against black people and Hispanics for playing on his golf course. What do we say about that? I'm just asking. I'm like, where are we talking about as though because this person was charged with this, that automatically makes them guilty, as though our criminal justice system does not have corruption in this institution as well too. If he's guilty, he's guilty. If he's guilty, he's guilty. Period.
All right. So what about the Central Park 5 when he did that large ad and they were kids and wanted them to go to prison for something that we know that they didn't even do?
That's not true. That's not true, Lakeysha. That's not true. They did. They did. They admitted. They admitted with their parents right there in the room. In fact, I interviewed the detective himself. I interviewed him on my live, and they admitted on record. You can, matter of fact, I can send you the link.
You do know that they have been cleared of all of those charges, right?
Being exonerated does not mean that you were not guilty. You admitted that you almost beat this woman, that you almost unalived this woman. You admitted that you did this. That's all I'm saying. I'm like, okay, so they're on record. All 5 of the boys are on record. Okay, all of them on record admitting this. They were not denied any food. They were not denied any rights. Their parents were right there in the interrogation room, admitting to the crime that they committed. Admitted that they were the ones that assaulted the jogger. Trump put out an ad in the paper saying that these people who did this should seek the death penalty, whatever. I think I'm forgetting the verbiage of the article. But you do know that there were black people that wanted this also to happen to those boys that did it to this woman as well too.
Well, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about Trump.
Okay, what about Trump? What about Trump?
We're talking about what Trump did, but what did he do? Said that didn't happen either. So
no, he didn't. No, they were guilty of what they did. Those are facts. I mean, I can send you the link. You can watch the entire footage of each video in their interrogation of these men. In fact, there's another podcaster. His name is it's called Consider Culture. It's called Consider Culture. I would encourage your viewers to check it out. Just check it out for yourself. You said my daughter is an HBCU and federal no longer gives funding. Where you getting that information from?
Well,
based on what?
She says her daughter goes, so. But I don't know. I mean, you gonna defend Trump until Jesus comes home.
No. Lakeysha, I'm not blindly defend. I would defend anybody if the facts speak for themselves. If
So
somebody, go ahead.
how do you have? Because it seems like and I'm gonna be honest. Because if you would ask me questions about, for instance, you say Obama, you ask me questions. I would not remember everything that Obama did, but I tell you this, I like Obama and I still like him today. But for some reason, like with you seem to know everything about Trump, even what was wrong. And you say, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. And I just get that from people that support him. It's like every time, you say something, they'll be like, no, he didn't do this. And it's just like, you be like, huh? Like what? It's like it's just like the Trump supporters, they don't believe that the man does anything wrong. And it seems like they believe everybody is lying on him. And I
think that's a straw man. Yeah, like, I believe that's a straw man because I've made it clear that I don't blindly support him. I believe that if the facts tell the story, then my feelings must take a back seat. And unfortunately, a lot of us as a people, we would rather ride on feelings instead of rely on facts. When I'm giving you is documented evidence. And when she talked about this, the HBCU, historical black colleges were the ones that were permanently funded, and that was under the Trump administration. It said the Central Park 5 were exonerated and found not guilty. They were wrongfully convicted. Based on what? How were they wrongfully convicted? They admitted that they committed the crime. Matter of fact, their DNA was on the jogger. So how were they wrongfully convicted?
So people have been coerced to say that they did something that they didn't actually do. So I think that's where this question is going. So people, and see, in this case, if I remember correctly, they were young kids. And what it was being stated is they were forced. I mean, you can force a child, or you can force anybody to say something that I did it, but they really didn't do it. So what I remember from the Central Park 5 is they may have admitted it, but they never did it, and it was a forced confession. But
Based
it
on
was,
what? Do you know where that information? Who said that they were forced? Who said they were forced? Is there any documentation of that?
yeah, they were found not guilty, and they were. I know you.
That's not what I'm asking. I was asking based on what information are y'all saying that they were forced and they were coerced to confess to a crime that they did not commit. I'm not saying that it cannot happen. I'm saying, but in this situation,
say based on when you say okay, you say based on what information?
Based on what evidence? Yeah, based on what evidence are you saying that they were coerced?
Evidence is they found that they were coerced and that they were forced. Now, when you say based on what evidence, apparently the evidence that they had in the file when they went and re-looked at the case, those men are not guilty. They overturn that. So when you say that, I don't know, it seems like if we're gonna have a conversation like this, you got to bring your paperwork and show me, because what I remember is that so one of the guys lived in my area, a very nice young man. I can't remember his name, but he lived in my area, and I support them. So
that's fine. I would again, if you want to have the conversation, I can refer you to the website and to the individual who actually prosecuted the
so the guy that I'm talking about, I cannot remember his name. Dang it, I can't remember his name, but his daughter went to school with my daughter. So in terms of when I say the information I have, it's information that I got offline. So I don't care.
Offline?
I mean, didn't you just say online? Did you?
Yeah, I'm saying, I guess maybe because I know when you was doing this on the fly, so maybe we can probably get this information, and that way we can present it. Because I want people to be informed. I'm not trying to gaslight anybody.
I'm not saying that they did not say that they did it, but what I remember happening is they said that they were forced to say it. I mean,
so okay, all right. So let me see if I can find that link here, because I have it here. Let me and I'll put it in the in your chat. That way you can have it there. Let's see. And the website, I believe it was called, Central Park 5 joggerattackers.com, in their own words. Now, let me ask you this question: If somebody is giving their testimony under oath, and I just put it in the let me see. Okay, I was trying to share it in the. I may have to DM it to you, because I'm not sure if it's letting me. Yeah, I'm gonna DM it to you. I'll do it that way. If a person or persons is giving their testimony with parents present, I just put it in the private chat. A person giving their testimony in the presence of their parents. As a matter of fact, they were told, and I believe the creator of the movie, I think that was what was her name? Was it DuVernay? What was their name? What was the guy's name? Trying to remember the name. But anyway, so Trisha Mealy, I believe, was the jogger. Eric Reynolds, who's a black man, was the prosecutor. He tried all 5 of the boys. Matter of fact, they didn't catch everybody that was wilding out in Central Park, but the ones that they did catch admitted that they were the ones that had committed the crime and had assaulted the jogger. Now, if you're saying that these boys were coerced, I'm just asking based on what documented evidence do we have? Because this document that I shared with you in your DM, this is them in their own words on video.
Right. You're talking about when they were kids. I'm not saying that they didn't say they did it, but what I am saying is I know him. Well, not know him like know him, but
I got you.
They were exonerated. You see what I'm saying? So
I understand.
We're going. That's just like, okay, let's say I got it. As a kid, this didn't really happen, but let's say 14 years old, I get arrested by the police and I don't really know what to say, and they scaring the shit out of me. So I'm gonna say, yeah, I did it. So maybe I didn't do it. So what I recall is it was something like that. But I think we're going back to say, oh, they said they did it. I don't believe there is, we're saying that they didn't say they did it. But what I'm saying is they were exonerated, which means they were cleared of that. Like, so us to go back and say they said they did it, we know they said that they did it. They were convicted of it. But does that matter now that they have looked at the evidence and they have actually, made the determination that they didn't really do it? So I don't know if that really makes sense to look at what they said. They never said that they didn't say that. But what they said is that they did it because, they were forced.
And
when you say this, said something about their parents being there. I don't know if that changes things. The parents may feel like, listen, just say you did it. I want you to get out of jail. I don't know if that changes the facts because they were exonerated, is what I'm saying.
So I can't speak on the motive and I can't speak on the what ifs. All I'm saying is based on the facts, based on court documents, based on sworn testimony, and based on the DNA evidence at that time, these 5 boys committed that crime. Now
they didn't even have DNA back then, so
they did have DNA. It wasn't as advanced. It wasn't as advanced as they have it today, but they did have DNA. Yes, they did. It was just not as advanced.
Okay, well, they definitely was at. Look, I don't care one way or the other, but they definitely was. They were exonerated. Did you know one of those? I don't know why I cannot remember their names, but one of them had ran for like a position in New York. So they don't have, like, they literally were cleared of this. That's why I'm not saying
because they weren't exonerated they can't work. I mean, but also political pressure. You have that also at play during this whole time. And for an investigator and for a prosecutor to present evidence and then to have it overturned, it doesn't mean that the prosecutor or the detective that arrested these boys didn't do their job. They did. And I'm just basing it off of the evidence itself. I'm not here to try to, bring any what ifs. I'm just stating the facts. And that's why I gave you the link. Central Park 5 jogger attackers.com. You can look at the videos, you can read the transcripts, you can read the documented evidence and draw your own conclusions from it. But
and we're gonna agree to disagree because
absolutely
got what I know and you feel what you know, and you is on Trump's side, whether if he right or wrong.
I would ask that you would state my position clearly. I never said whether he's right or wrong. I don't side with wrong. To side with wrong would be sin. I side on what's right. Now we can disagree on that, and that's okay. But I don't want to falsely accuse anyone of saying something that they didn't say or imply something that they didn't state.
Well, do me a favor. I want you to go back and look up on, the Central 5 stuff, because you don't got it. It ain't right, because I remember it and I was the same way. I said, oh, they did that. Oh, I remember back in the days, and I can't remember, because why would I remember? You know how you remember all the Trump stuff. I don't remember everything like that. You know what I mean? So
you trying to throw a shot at me. You're trying to throw a shot at me, Keys. I'm gonna let you make it on that. That's okay. I can take a jab.
I don't remember everything, but I remember reading it and I was like, oh shoot. And then, people were saying, like, you remember, Trump had did this and they even put the ad up that he ran. He literally ran an ad calling for these boys to be.
Yes, he did. He did. Yes, he did. And so did our black civil rights leaders. So did our black people in our community in New York. They did too. I'm saying based on what they seen and based on the evidence that was presented. Now, I will ask you this, because I don't want to take much of your time. Would you be open to having a panel discussion if I were to bring the detective or bring the individual who created this website, and maybe who also have done who have covered the story? Would you be open to having a panel discussion or dialogue with that? If you'll be open to that, either your platform or mine, it's up to you.
Let me tell you why I wouldn't be open to it, because I don't feel. Let me just tell you why. Because from what I know, they have been exonerated, right? Okay. I don't want to use my platform to continue to put out stuff when they have been exonerated. You understand what we're talking about black men. I'm not going to be a part of bringing out more information when these men have already been exonerated. So even if the detective was willing to give an interview and I'll get $2 million views, I'm not open to it because I don't like stuff like that. Because for one, if they already been exonerated, then what the hell is the conversation about? Like they don't. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I think since you had mentioned the fact that what you said that Trump was guilty of doing this and doing that because of the Central Park Five, I was just adding context to that and bringing more clarity, so that way it wouldn't breed this.
Well, let me just let you know how I feel about Trump. I hate him. And you know what? I don't think there's nobody that I hate, but I probably hate him. So it is nothing that you can tell me about Trump that will make me change my mind, especially after you sent out a picture of Barack Obama and Michelle and call them monkeys, apes. I don't care what it was.
You say he did that? You believe he did that?
I don't care if they lied on him. So, okay, because I know you're going to say he didn't do it. I don't care if they lied on him. I don't like Trump. I would never like Trump, and nobody can change my mind. I don't like Trump.
When did you start not liking him?
I never liked him. I didn't like him the last time y'all voted for him.
No. I'm asking. So was it during Home Alone 2? Was it before Home Alone 2? Was it before 50 Cent? After 50 Cent? Was it 2016? After 2016? I'm just curious.
50 Cent?
Yeah.
What about 50 Cent?
I mean, because he used to rock with G-Unit back in the day, in the early 2000s. Mid 2000s, I think.
Trump was, when I first became noticeable about Trump, when Nene Leakes was on his, he used to have that reality show thing.
Yeah, The Apprentice. Yes.
The Apprentice. That is when I, even knew who Trump was.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like him. He's just not my cup of tea. I
got you. Yeah, I got you. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to make you like him.
Even if I didn't really know very much about him, when you talk about Black women losing their jobs, and then you're talking about, we want to take away DEI, we're going to erase Black history. I don't mess with people like that.
So you think DEI help Black people?
It don't matter.
Oh, okay.
I don't like them.
I got you. Because it didn't. I'm just saying it hurt us more than it helped us. It helped white women, didn't help Black people. Black people
actually help white women, but the thought that he was doing something when he took it away, I don't like him. Okay,
but why would you want to hire me based on my color versus based on? Okay.
It doesn't matter. So the thing of it is, you're right. It never helped us anyway. But he's so dumb and stupid. He thought that it was, so he took it away because he dumb and uneducated and he's stupid. So he thought it was helping us.
No. When you got a man saying that I'm going to hire a person because they're Black, how does that? And that person doesn't want to define what a woman is. And now they're in the highest court of the land, making decisions that are going to affect our people for generations to come until they die. I don't understand how is DEI in support and helping us as a people? I'm just saying.
Does anybody have any other questions? Of course, yeah.
And I appreciate this conversation, Lakeysha. I really do. And hopefully you won't block me or lose my number.
I just don't rock with Trump, and it's
I got you. It's cool. It's cool.
Else to tell me, so I'm not a Trump supporter. Trump can die today or tomorrow, and I wouldn't give a damn. Okay, so I don't rock with Trump.
Yeah. So what is it? What was it that you liked about Obama that he did for us as a people?
Because I liked him.
Okay.
And I don't like Trump. I mean,
I got you.
I just don't like him.
I got you.
Yeah, I mean,
that's understandable.
There's so many things that I can say about Trump, but I'm sure you will say that it's a lie.
I'm just saying, if I don't like a person, or in your term is you say you hate them, I would really encourage you not to say that you hate a person like that. If there's no
folks, I mean. You think that you think Donald Trump like Black folks? Do you really think that?
Yeah, I do. But because of history and because of what he notice, you said because of what a person does, right? Is that what you said earlier in our conversation? You said I look at what that person does versus their policies, how they treat people. So he put up Jennifer Hudson's family in his hotel when her family member took the life of another family member. for free, provided security detail to them. Again, I mentioned to you about the Alice Johnsons and the
Jennifer Hudson.
Jennifer Hudson, yes, Jennifer Hudson. I mean, he put her up and her family up in his hotel for free and provided them with security, 24-hour security.
She's probably a Trump supporter, you know. She's probably a Trump supporter. You know,
but here's my point. Here's my point. We're talking about him being a racist. I'm saying if I am a racist, if I'm a racist, and I hate black people, it doesn't matter what they do and what need they have. I'm not going to help them. If I'm last time I checked, that's what a racist is. Okay. Not only that, but he has hired black people to work for him and work for his hotels. And I'm not talking about doing no menial stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's, and I don't want to go on a tangent, but I'm just trying to cite some of the things to show this is all documented, you know, evidence. What about Jesse Jackson? He financed Jesse Jackson's presidential campaign twice. And when he found out that Jesse Jackson was running and he was going to run, he backed out of it. Trump did. And he considered Jesse Jackson his friend. Al Sharpton, he considered him his friend. These people flipped on him when he decided to become Republican. And all I'm saying is this man was a racist. He supported Muhammad Ali, Rosa Parks. I mean, I'm just giving you facts. This ain't about feelings. This is about facts.
Okay. So one thing they say you left out.
Okay.
It says, attention, Keysha. He's leaving out information. I think he said the first DNA tests were bogus. They later were exonerated because a man admitted to doing the crime in his DNA and semen was found inside.
Yeah, Mateus Reyes. Right. Mateus Reyes was the one that inseminated the woman. I got that. What does that have to do with the other 4 boys, or particularly the 5 that beat this woman and admitted to doing it? And the DNA and their evidence was on her clothing. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to move from that point because that's the facts. That's why I gave y'all the Central Park 5 jogger attackers in their own words. And for me, I'm good with being called names because the ad hominems don't faze me. Let's have a conversation as intelligent black men. We always want to talk about, you know, black men. Let's take care of each other. Let's support each other. Well, I have not called not one of y'all a name, but I'm good because I understand what this is about, and I'm okay with that.
Somebody called you a name. Let's recognize the super chat Red Scholar for $10. Guys, we are having a discussion now. Let's not do that.
No, we're good. It's cool. It's cool.
So what they saying in the chat?
Some people call me idiot, call me, but so for me, I'm good. I'm just saying for people that wants to talk about uplifting our people, y'all got a bad way of showing it.
Right. And I mean, it is difficult, you know, when you have a discussion, you know, people, but this is part of life. Like, people are entitled to their own opinions. Like,
exactly.
Like, I'm not gonna block you. I don't.
Yeah. And can we also establish this fact? I believe.
Sure.
Would you agree or disagree with this statement? If a person is exonerated, does that mean that they're automatically innocent?
So I think it depends on, I think every case is going to be different. Exactly. You know what I mean? So, but since we're talking about this case, and that's why I said we really got to go and look at it and bring the facts, because from what I recall, they were cleared of everything. But when you say, when a person is exonerated, does that mean that they didn't do it? I think every case is different. But in this case, I remember them being exonerated. That's why I said I don't want to have a conversation about that, because I remember specifically reading it and I was like, oh shoot. So I just don't remember, like, I'm not going to keep the information in my mind, but I recall seeing it and I was like, dang. And it was a lot of information. So it was a lot at one time, but I'm with you on a person can be exonerated. But for this particular case, those boys, or they men now, were found that they didn't do any of this. And that's just what I remember.
Gotcha. And I would say that, you know, this is these are conversations that I believe is necessary, because it at least gives people the opportunity to hear two individuals who disagree can go back and forth and do it respectfully, even do it with, with passion and keeping it real. But at the end of the day, say, okay, you know what? I don't agree. We can agree to disagree and keep it pushing and keep it moving. But I stand on what I believe. Right. And I believe that what I'm stating is based on facts. But most importantly, I'm giving biblical support for that, because I don't want to falsely accuse anybody without evidence. I don't care what color you are and what socioeconomic status you claim to hold.
I get it. So I believe if we want to have these conversations moving forward, because we want to make sure we're just not going off of what we think and what we know, as if, we're talking about this, I remember, but you say something different. If we really want to inform the public with facts, then we have to come with the facts. Okay.
Absolutely. That's why I sent you the link in the DM as well, because I don't want to just walk off and then not give you all the information, because that's just one of a few.
But but your link is pretty much them admitting to it. And I don't disagree that they didn't admit to whatever you're saying that they did. But what I'm saying is later it was found that, okay, this information or whatever it was that they agreed or said that they did, either somebody else had, I can't, again, I don't remember, but it was overturned. That's what I remember. So
yeah.
I don't want to, bring somebody on.
I got you
about that, because I just don't want to further damage somebody's reputation if they were. And here's the deal. I feel like if they were exonerated of everything, let that dog stay buried in the grave somewhere and let them folks live their life. Now, if it was a situation where, something different, I would be open to that discussion. I just don't want to further, mess up a black man. Y'all already go through stuff. We already go through stuff. I just don't want to be, behind, bringing no content out about them. Like I said, I know one of them, know him by face. I think it's Raymond. Is it Raymond Santana? I think his name is
Raymond. Yeah, I think it's Raymond Santana. I believe that's his name.
Raymond. I would see him in my neighborhood. His daughter went to school with my daughter. So yeah, like I said, we can talk and move forward. But again, it would have to be somewhere where we know what we're going to say, so that we are bringing facts and not just having discussion. Because I believe people, should be open to whatever it is that they choose. It's with me, I'm rocking with who I rock with, and I don't go solely off of policies. I go off of morality and things like that. If I don't think you're a good person, I don't mess with you. My whole I don't rock like that. So
no, I got you. And I was just saying again, a person could be mean but can have good policies. I'd rather have a person that has good policies but is a mean person versus a person that want to kiss me and suck up to me, but then they'll destroy me behind my back. Give me the former instead of the latter.
Well, Trump destroying you in your face, so he definitely ain't doing it behind your back. So you
haven't given me any evidence on that, my friend. So we gonna probably we're gonna probably agree to disagree for the 15th.
All right. So what are y'all? We've been on here for about 2 hours and 32 minutes. Like I said, we'll kind of put our minds together. If you want to do this, we can kind of come up with a name for it, and we can talk about politics as long as we know what we're talking about and go from there.
I would love that. And let me give you your flowers, Keysha. Thank you again for bringing me on. You didn't have to do that, and so I appreciate the opportunity for us to have this conversation about Anton and about Christianity, what it is, what it's not. Even near the end of this, the tail end of the discussion here about politics and Trump. Again, I appreciate it. I really do, because it does show that we can have these conversations and not have to tiptoe around it. And you can stand on your square, I can stand on mine, and at the end of the day, it's still all love. And it's still all love. And I appreciate that. I really do.
I thank you, like I said, for being here. I'm not mad. This is a healthy, debate. Like I said, I still don't like them,
And I still rock with his policies, and we good.
Right. Like I said, maybe we can do this again. We just will have a format where we can show the people the evidence, where you can
Yes.
show them your evidence and I can show them my evidence, and we can roll like that. But thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on the show.
Thank
He has his channel, the BBC Book Chapter Verse.
BTV Book Chapter Verse. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Have a good night. Take care now.
You too. All right, y'all. We back. We about to wrap this thing up. We about to wrap this up. Somebody, wait a minute. Okay, y'all. Y'all, we gonna get on up out of here because it's been 2 hours and 33 minutes. Okay. But what are y'all saying in the chat? Y'all, we've been on here for almost 3 hours. Well, I'll see y'all later. I'm gonna get on up out of here. Catch y'all in the next video. Take care. Have a nice night.
Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. I'm still here, no fear, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Stretch words like but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here.